All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the stream. Welcome if you are new here. Thank you guys so much for joining me today on this Sunday, December 21st. Hope everybody's doing well. Thank you for waiting patiently for the intro to finish up. As always, we have a Sapporo in the chat, longtime member. He says he hit platinum number 1,273 and he's now on his way to platinum 1,274. That is insane, dude. That is insane. I can't even imagine having that many platinums. I have 53 total platinums. And Lady Gamer, thank you for using your milestone there. Been a member for 21 months. Appreciate that, Lady Gamer. Irfin, what's going on, man? Radic, Will, 223 Gaming. Ray, Matt. I know, that is insane, dude. Yeah, we got Leia. We got Leia chilling with us today. Matt, you're saying you have 13 and you think that's a lot? 13, I mean, 13's good. Yeah. But yeah, compared to like over 1,000, I mean, that's insanity. MRPD asks, did you get rid of the community tab? I did. Yeah. I tried for another moment and I'm just not going to do it. I don't want to do it. I felt the urge to try it again because YouTube is pushing it out again and really trying to encourage people. And I appreciate what they're trying to do, but I I think the thing with YouTube is they're trying to be everything all the time. And as a content creator, I feel overwhelmed by it. Sometimes I feel like it's too much. And I just think that YouTube is trying too hard to compete in other areas where it's like I understand you kind of have to do that, but it starts to get further and further away of what YouTube is supposed to be. They're trying to be the Fortnite of tubes. So I do apologize for keeping that up for a couple of days, but no worries. We're gonna have plenty more streams, especially going into next year. We're gonna have a lot of time for people to communicate with each other and hang out in the chat. Yeah, apparently there are some new avatars for Ghost of Yotei. I saw them post that out. I didn't redeem them. I'm not really interested in the avatars that they were showing. There's been tons of news the last couple of days with Naughty Dog 2. A bit surprised we don't have that as a topic. Yeah, I was considering talking about it, and we probably will. Like, we could still, I guess, touch on it today, but but at the same time, it's like, we're approaching the end of the year, and news. I mean, I guess the news is starting to. It's kind of reaching that end point, like right before everybody kind of goes on break and whatnot. So there's a couple of things certainly. But I don't know. I felt like today what I wanted to do was focus on discussing platinum trophies. I want to talk about the platinum trophies that I've earned this year. Not all of them, but just some of the standouts to me. But something else that I told you guys I would do at some point this year, and I nearly forgot about it, was talking to you guys about like my top, making a few top 5 lists for all of my platinum trophies in general. So like I have a top 5 platinums that I'm most proud of, top 5 random platinums that I have. When looking over the list, I'm like, that's strange. Um, like I kind of forgot some of these platinums that I got. So I figured we could just kind of talk about this. Um, Invisitiluin, hopefully I said that correctly, says, happy birthday, Matt York, with a super chat. Matt, is it your birthday? Did I miss that? Well, happy birthday, Matt. I'm confused. He says, that's my wife. That's my wife. Matt's wife tuned into the stream to drop a super chat saying happy birthday. Well, let's give Matt York a big happy birthday. Appreciate you being a longtime member too, as well, man. That's good stuff. That's good stuff. Or if it says that's sus. Mrs. MBG says, happy birthday, Matt York. I love that your wife super chatted that. That's awesome. She went out of her way to do that. Ray in the chat, free Ghost of Yote PSN avatars by redeeming the codes below for the Americas, Australia. Thank you for that, Ray. So there you go. Yeah, he posted them in the chat. If you want those free PSN avatars, I don't think Atsu is part of the bunch. I think it's like for the side characters. I know there's one for the wolf. So thank you again for doing that, Ray. We have Will with a $2 super chat saying you need the Expedition 33 Platinum. Also, play Dispatch. I've heard really good things about Dispatch. Heard good things about it. Haven't played it yet. Expedition 33, I was going to Platinum at some point, but then I got derailed. And then I never went back to it. I don't know if that's one that I'm going to go back and Platinum. That to me could end up being one of those games. They're rare, but they do happen. It could be one of those games where I put a lot of time in it and played the crap out of it, and then I just walk away from it convinced I'm never going to go back to it or never platinum it, and then just like a couple years later it's like I just get the itch and it's like, okay, I'll go back and I'll do it. It very well could end up being that type of game, so we'll see. But yeah, I enjoyed my time with Expedition 33, certainly. Mini Tom in the chat says, MBG, I hope you're good. I had a cold sore for a few days, but starting to feel better. It's been rough for me. One of my favorite YouTubers passed away last month, which I did not know about. I'm sorry to hear that, Mini Tom. Sorry to hear that it's been a rough couple of days, and certainly about the YouTuber that passed away. Yeah, it's crazy. I think I know what YouTuber you're talking about, because I saw that there was somebody trending. They passed away recently. I forget their name. They're not somebody I ever watched. Lamar Wilson, yeah. I've heard of him. I've come across a couple of his videos over the years. That's very sad. Very, very sad. Yeah, he seemed like a really good guy. It's a shame. But yeah, you always got to you know, keep in mind your mental health, check in on people, see how they're doing, stuff like that. And Ray comes in. Ray, thank you so much for that, buddy. He says, you know what? Here we go, MBG. Let's get this started. We'll drop 5 membership gifts for the community. Ray, thank you so much for that. I'm gonna add that to the counter. I'm also gonna test the soundbite. Make sure.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Go. I do want to let you guys know as well, if you are a channel member or if you end up getting a channel membership, like if we get more channel member gifts throughout the day and you're lucky enough to receive one, we did a Christmas special Morning with the Misses. I think it was a 2-hour long special. We did some trivia. It was a good time. There was some shenanigans as always. But yeah, if you have a membership, when you have the extra time, if you want more content and you want members only content, you can go check that out. And I do want to let you know that there probably won't be any, I don't know if there's going to be any more members content coming for the remainder of the month, because we have a lot of stuff coming up. But rest assured that going into next year, we're going to be getting back on the member content train. And yeah, I got big plans for next year. Hopefully, we'll see. But Ray, again, thank you for that, buddy. And yeah, if you guys, before we dive into these lists that I made up, if you want to support the channel like Ray just did here, please consider doing so. We're completely fan funded. I can only do what I do here because you guys make it possible. We have a great community, great group of people here. So if it's within your means and you're feeling it, consider supporting directly. Or you can just hit that like button. That helps too. It's time to celebrate, MBG. Forget about that stuff for now. Yeah, I hear you. That's why I didn't really want to, like, at some point we'll cover the news about Intergalactic and Naughty Dog. I'm trying to like shift gears a little bit going into the last week and a half of this year. And I hope you guys understand that. The report about Naughty Dog, I will just say before I go into my list here, there's only one like truly concerning thing that I heard from that report. Um, because like the idea that they had the crunch and mandatory overtime, obviously that's concerning, but it's the reason for it. Apparently, they missed multiple milestones for Intergalactic, and my understanding, based off of Jason Schreier's reporting, is that it seems like Sony's kind of getting a little bit concerned where they're requesting a demo for review to see what progress the game has made. And apparently, the reason why Naughty Dog had to kind of crunch the last couple months was to get that demo good to go. And and all this has happened because apparently they missed a couple of milestones. And you know, when we think about Naughty Dog, we think about how big of a studio they are, how much pressure's on them to deliver, some of the struggles they've had this generation. It's definitely concerning to hear that they've missed some milestones. It happens, it's not unusual, but it's worth noting that games that miss multiple milestones, it depends on the studio, of course, and it depends on the game that we're talking about. But for other studios like Bend, missing milestones means cancellation. For Naughty Dog, I'm sure they have more cachet. They have more chances, so to speak. But I don't know. It just makes me wonder if they're having some kind of production issues over there potentially, which would be a shame because it feels like Naughty Dog has kind of been marred with just unfortunate things happening this generation with them. So hopefully it doesn't mean anything bad for the end product, and hopefully the devs aren't going to have to be pushed to like the absolute brink just to deliver this game, you know. And they're targeting like a mid 2027 release, which makes sense. I think we've heard that too. Yeah, Naughty Dog was definitely mismanaged this generation. They did get a couple things out. They got The Last of Us Part 1, The Last of Us 2 remastered. They had some like free content updates for The Last of Us Part 2, but we know that their multiplayer game got canceled. We know that they were, it wasn't a good time this generation for Naughty Dog. So here's hoping that they can rally and get it together and drop Intergalactic as a kind of, you know, it all built up to this. We can deliver one new IP this generation before the generation is over, and hopefully it'll be worth the wait. That's what we can hope for, right? And we have a milestone chat from Chris Brown, a member for 28 months. Thank you for that, Chris. He says, bought an Xbox Ally, and I must say I'm impressed. Was playing RE2 Remake on high settings at a locked 60. We'll let you know if I keep it. Yeah, it's interesting. The most interesting thing to me that you pointed out here, Chris, is that you're saying you're playing Resident Evil 2 Remake. That's interesting to me because I'm currently replaying that game as well. I was playing it this morning. I was playing it all yesterday. So I guess we're kind of in the same mode right now. But you're saying you were playing it on with high settings at a locked 60 FPS. That's very good. That's very good. And I guess not too surprising when you consider how much the Xbox Ally costs. Or I know there's two versions. Did you get the more premium version? Sorry, I didn't mean to sip my coffee like that. I know that bothers some people. That's definitely good though. High settings at 60 frames for portable gaming. I mean, if you're going to pay the price for it, you want to get a good experience. You want to have good performance. Irvin says, MBG, happy Christmas to you and your family. From your non-Christian friend here, wishing great health and best of everything for you all. Well, thank you so much for that, Irvin. That's very kind of you, buddy. Yeah, we'll still be having. This isn't like the last stream of the year or anything like that. And I appreciate the message, Irfan, and I hope you and your family have a good end of December as well. Um, so here's what I'm aiming for. I'll let you guys know my planned schedule. I don't know if it's going to change, so I probably shouldn't even tell you, but I'll just say it anyway. So we're streaming today. I'll probably stream again on the 24th for Christmas Eve. We do our annual Christmas Eve stream. After that, I probably won't be back until Sunday, December 28th. And looking at the schedule, for me, December 28th, that's the beginning of the new year. I know it's not technically yet. We still have 4 more days before January 1st, but I'm looking at it. It's starting on a Sunday, the 28th. On the 28th, I'm basically going to be approaching that like this is the new year for the channel. So, um just to kind of let everybody know about that. That's the plan. Again, if something changes, I will let you know. You got the base model. Oh, wow. And it can run it on at high settings at 60 FPS even with the base model. That's impressive. I wonder what you could pull off with the higher end model then. Yeah, let me know, Chris, if you end up keeping it or not. Because we know that Sony, they're trying to get their PlayStation 6 handheld ready, and I'm it's going to be really curious to see what the future of handheld gaming holds. Now that we know there's another Steam Deck eventually coming, Xbox is now involved, Sony's getting involved, the Switch 2 exists, obviously. So we will see. Actually, we are celebrating Yalda Night tonight. We're marking the last day of autumn. Oh, that's very cool, Irfan. Very cool. All right. All right, so let's get into these platinum lists here. So I want to start with just talking about some of the games I have platinumed this year. Now, as I told you guys, and I will continue to talk about this probably going into next year, I am a little bit disappointed in myself this year when it comes to gaming. Although I'm trying not to be too hard on myself because it's been a very tough year. The struggle has been real. I still did a lot of gaming for sure, but one of the things that I kind of realized when looking over my lists and just kind of going on my PlayStation 5 and looking over everything I played this year is there's this kind of realization that I didn't play that many games. I didn't play many new games. I didn't really platinum that many games either. I think I got a total of like 8 platinums or 9 perhaps, but and I think for like a lot of people that would be a lot, but just generally speaking, I just want to do more gaming, going into 2026. And by more gaming, I don't just mean like the amount of hours I spend gaming. I mean, I want to diversify a little bit. I want to play more games. That's really what I'm trying to say. I want to play more games, and that's something I'm taking very seriously going into 2026. But but yeah, I do need to say that once again when I look over this list, I don't think the first list that I'm going to go over with you guys is surprising, which again are some of my platinums that I got in 2025. Not all of them, but just the ones that kind of stood out to me and the ones that I had a good time, mostly good time, going after. Today is Winter Solace. Is it? Oh yeah, the Stranger Things finale at AMC theaters. Yeah, I heard that they were doing that. That's pretty interesting. It'd be cool. I think it's cool that they're doing that. It's really strange though because it's Netflix. Like they don't ever do anything with movie theaters. Carl says playing Lego Horizon at the moment. I really like it because it's silly and fun, which I like. I played Lego Horizon. I didn't. I have to be honest. I didn't enjoy it that much. It wasn't like offensive or anything. Like, oh my god, I hate this game. It's wasting my time. It's not like that. But it just to me, what was weird about Lego Horizon is how it felt so different from other Lego games. That was strange to me. Like I was going in expecting it to feel like a more traditional Lego game, but they took a completely or somewhat different, not completely, but a somewhat different approach. And I wonder why that is, but it was okay. It was okay. But I'm glad to hear you're enjoying it. Like for a game, if you're playing it through PlayStation Plus, it's not bad. It's not a bad PS Plus game, I'd say. Can I do a top 20 list of all time sometime? Oh man, early 90s gamer, that's a tough one. I mean, I would like to at some point, maybe, but it's so much pressure. And like, I don't know if you mean like top 20, like my personal top 20 games of all time, or I'm assuming that's what you mean. That would be an interesting list. It would certainly cause some frustration, probably, with some of the games I'd have on that top 20. MBG, I remember one of your resolutions last year is to play more games and variety. Yeah, that's true, Vanino. I probably feel this way every year, but this year I think, at least I'm hoping, I'm going to be more serious about it because there are definitely some things that caught me off guard this year where I just wasn't. There were just some challenges that I experienced this year that I was not prepared for, and it really put me in a strange place mentally that I guess I still am kind of in that zone, but I always try to look at like, New Year. We talk about New Year's resolutions, and I look at it as like I want to kind of like I feel like maybe this is a good time to really try to force a little bit of change. Not, within reason, but we'll see. We'll see how 2026, I will say this, at the very least, looking at the upcoming games that are coming out in 2026, it's not going to be too hard. It's not going to be too hard to lock down some, a handful of games that I'm for sure going to play the crap out of because there's a lot. No, Matt, that's another game that I haven't finished yet. I think at this point it's safe to say I'm just going to wait for the third game and just play them back to back. That's probably going to be the way to go. Will, so if everything goes according to plan, I'm going to be doing a couple of Press X podcast episodes before the end of the year where I'm specifically going to be talking about games that I'm looking forward to. Kind of like Spotlight. So stay tuned for that. Yeah, 2026 is looking insane. Hold on. Let me just check something really quick. Okay. All right. So let me start my list out here. So the first list, well, I'll break down the different lists. How many do I have in total? One, two. I think I have 4 lists. So here are the lists. Uh, Platinum games I platinumed, some of the games I platinumed in 2025. And then after that, I'm going to be kind of talking about all of my platinums, not every single one that I've unlocked, but 2025 marked the year where I finally hit 50 platinum trophies. And so I have a list of the 5 platinums I'm most proud of, the 5 funnest platinums, so games that I had the best time actually getting the platinum trophy for, and then 5 random platinums, like games that I had the platinum trophy for that you just wouldn't necessarily expect. And even I was a little bit surprised when I was looking back. So these are the lists that I compiled for today. And as we dive into it, guys, like I said, make sure you hit that like button and feel free to show any support along the way. Does anybody care about his platinum trophies? Well, I don't know. You don't have to care about my platinum trophies. You don't have to care about it. But, be gone. You must care. How dare you enter the stream and ask that question? Does anybody even care about this man's platinums? I don't know, bro. Why'd you even click the stream, man? Why'd you click the stream? But yeah, I also want to acknowledge it's actually a good opportunity to acknowledge a lot of people don't care about platinuming games at all. A lot of people don't care about trophy hunting. I've talked to you guys about how for me, it's a love-hate relationship. I wish trophies didn't exist. I wish the metagame did not exist. I wish that, I just wish that I could play games the way I used to, but that's just not a possibility anymore. It's simply not possible. Trophies exist, and I'm part of the metagame, and I always will be as long as they exist. So, yeah. Well, you know what? I know I'm really procrastinating here, but before I dive into the list, I should also just take this moment to acknowledge because of what just happened. So I'm not going to spend too much time talking about this, but I think those of you who are here right now and I don't know how many people are going to watch this after the fact. I'll probably have to reiterate this a few times going into next year, but one of the big changes I'm planning on making to the channel, and it's not a bad thing, it's only a good thing, is like, let me think of, so here's the best analogy I can use. I feel as though I need to treat my channel here alongside the community as like, this is my home and I'm welcoming people into my home. Again, just going with this analogy. I've been way too tolerant about the type of people that I've been letting into my home, that are like just destroying things and making it an unpleasant experience for not just me, but all the other people who are coming in here to just have a good time and get along. And that's, to be clear, I'm not talking about people who are just trying to have some fun and messing around. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking genuinely disruptive behavior that's persistent, even after potential warnings and stuff like that. I want to make it clear that going into next year, um, I'm just not. Let me think of the best way I could say this. The tolerance level is just non-existent. You know, it's just it's just non-existent at this point. Where I have goals in mind, right? Things I want to do with the channel, with the community, and um, that's all I want to say. That's true. See, Hanzo, and I appreciate that, bro. I appreciate that. That's okay. It happens sometimes, Hanzo. No offense is taken. No more console warring. Well, yeah, I mean that's pretty much going to be. I mean, even people who want a console war, it's just simply not going to be possible going into next year. But but yeah, I just wanted to let you guys know about that. Where like there's definitely been some strange things that have occurred this year, and not just this year, but throughout the years. Where um one of the things I've observed is that a lot of people um have either left the channel or they kind of lurk on the channel because they don't really want to engage with the chat or with certain things where um you know how the saying goes, like one bad apple ruins the bunch. And that's true too, and I've been too tolerant and too relaxed in my approach. And I just, again, I don't want people to think that you have to only operate one specific way. It's not like that, but I want to try to gear the channel. I want to try to shift the channel towards more about truly just talking about video games and talking about the industry, and not drama and nonsense and toxic, behavior that can be viewed as potentially toxic or just flat out is toxic. That's the hope anyway. I want to make it a more welcoming place in that sense. So, anyway, with that being said, though, I do need to dive into this list. I've been procrastinating long enough. Um, all right, let's see. So, I'm going to start with the games I platinumed in 2025, the games that stood out to me. And I'm going to go down this list. I guess this list is kind of in order of like, I mean, I don't want to say like least enjoyable to most, but I guess in this sense, if we're talking about my experience platinuming these games this year, and there's actually, I said it was a top 5, but there's actually a number 6 as well. So the 6th game on this list, starting it off, is Ghost of Yotei. I'm not going to spend too much time. Really, really, Leia, really. Okay. She's like, all right, I'm gonna head out. Well, that's fine. It's just a thing these cats can do now. Um, but yeah, starting with number 6, Ghost of Yotei. I'm not going to spend too much time talking about Ghost of Yotei simply because I've talked about this game extensively already. For those of you who've been tuning in to my conversations about Ghost of Yotei, you'll know that I've actually been kind of complaining about the overall experience going for the platinum. To me, there's basically two different separate experiences with Ghost of Yotei. The first is just playing the story and doing some side content naturally as it pops up. And then the other is going for that platinum trophy. Um, for me, Ghost of Yotei really shines when you're just playing the game naturally and normally and going from the beginning of the story to the end, and again having those few side things you choose to do, or if you, I mean, you can kind of go out of your way to do some of these side missions and some of the side content, but a lot of it just kind of pops up naturally. To me, that's when Ghost of Yotei shines, and when it becomes actually like a really, really top tier experience. Where Ghost of Yotei doesn't shine, in my honest opinion, is when you are going for that platinum, which, to be clear, is optional. You don't have to do the platinum, there's no requirement. It's just for people like me, where I'm a bit of a completionist with stuff like this, and I'm like, okay, I want the platinum. And I did notice that by the time I got to the last, I would say 6 to 8 trophies, I was like burned out on the game. I'd already played it for like 50 hours, and I'm like, I've gotten more than my fill of Ghost of Yotei, and some of the stuff did become pretty repetitive. And it just kind of left me wishing that Sucker Punch didn't make it so kind of long in the tooth when it comes to going for the platinum. So I had to put Ghost of Yotei, just being brutally honest about it, when it comes to the platinum experience. I had to put Ghost of Yotei at my, I guess, my number 6 spot. Um, because when I was looking over the other games, I'm like, yeah, I definitely enjoyed platinuming all the other games on this list more than I did Yotei. So Yotei's the one kicking it off. And I'm not going to get, if whenever I do replay FF7 Rebirth, I'm not going for the platinum. That's not going to happen. The next game on the list here, we're going to my number 5. My number 5 is Days Gone Remastered. And Days Gone Remastered, I'm not going to be too long with this one either. Frankly, I don't know how long I'm going to spend on each of these games talking about them, but Days Gone Remastered was overall, I would say, a relatively enjoyable platinum experience. But the only thing that actually really kind of brought it down for me, well, there were two things. The first was that it was my second time getting the platinum. I played Days Gone on PS4. I got the platinum then, and I really did enjoy it. But Days Gone kind of has that issue that a lot of open world games do, kind of like Ghost of Yotei, where it can be very long in the tooth in terms of there's just a lot of side content to do, and it does get pretty repetitive. And especially by the time you're getting to those last 5 to 10 trophies, you're like, oh god, okay, like just keep pushing and get it finished. Days Gone definitely suffered from that. I will say the experience, though, getting the platinum with remastered was just better overall than the first time around. And I think it does have cross save with trophies, although for some reason it didn't work for me, or I don't remember if it didn't work or if I explicitly chose not to do that because I wanted to re earn the trophies. But no, actually, now I remember I couldn't find my save data. Yeah, I was like gaslighting myself because I was checking. I'm like, I know I platinumed this game on this profile on PS4, and lo and behold, it's there. And yet, when I go to check my save data, even in the cloud, it's non-existent. I don't know where it went. It disappeared. So I was looking for it, and I just decided, okay, I'm just going to do it over again. But what made getting the platinum for Days Gone more enjoyable this time around was the fact that I was playing it on the PS5 Pro, playing it at 60 frames per second. It was using PSSR, and it just looked and ran so much better than it did when I played it the first time on the PS4 Pro. And so, because of that, it just made the overall experience more enjoyable, more smooth, I guess you could say. But Days Gone was another highlight of the year for me in terms of just games I played that I enjoyed in general. However, there is one kind of complaint I have to make towards Days Gone when it comes to trophies specifically. Um, that complaint is Days Gone is one of those games where when you look at your trophy list, it'll say like 78%, even if you have the platinum. And when you click on it, it has multiple different DLCs or other trophy lists, like, for example, one to beat the game on New Game Plus, one to do the Horde Assault mode, and this is fine. Um, but I remember there was one trophy in particular that just really kind of got under my skin to a point where it's like, okay, I don't think I'm going to be able to get the 100% here. And I think it was the the permadeath run. I think that's what really kind of took me out. Where I'm like, yeah, I'm not like this is just too. This is making the experience too miserable for me. Where as much as I want that 100%, I'm just gonna have to settle on the platinum because I did try and it just wasn't going well. And I'm like, okay, so just a little bit of a complaint there, but that's just the nature of trophy hunting. I'm sure for many of you guys, it's a similar situation where I see, well, the bonus DLC trophies are ridiculous. I just wish that if they were going to do bonus trophies with the little DLCs that they put out, I wish that they would just make them very simple and not make it so it's like, yeah, we're going to have a permadeath trophy here separate from the list. I mean, I guess it's good that it's separate because you can still get the platinum, but I think you guys understand what I'm saying. The Uncharted Platinums put me off playing games on hard with the crushing modes. Misery brings comfort. Yeah, it sure does. You got the Mafia, the Old Country Platinum, but only because you wanted to explore Sicily. That is the first platinum I played on hard since Uncharted 3 on the PS3. Difficulty based trophies and platinums can be, yeah, they can be very annoying, certainly. But so yeah, that's my number 5 on the list here for 2025. Let me refer back to the list here. So my number 4 is a bit of a surprise here. Terminator Resistance Enhanced Edition for the PS5. So this was an interesting one where I believe it was March of this year. I was looking for something to play. I was just looking for something different to play. And I came across this game, Terminator Resistance, and I was really hesitant on it because I was like, well, it looks kind of like not great just based off of what I was seeing. And it looked it looked lower budget. But I like the Terminator franchise, and I can't remember the last time I ever played a Terminator game. So I took a chance on it and I bought it, and I'm really glad I did because putting the platinum aside, the game was actually really fun. Yeah, I actually do recommend this game pretty highly if you're a fan of Terminator because they did a much better job than you would have assumed. It's like a first person shooter. And when I bought the game, I wasn't necessarily planning on platinuming it. I was just planning on playing it and enjoying it. But as I got closer to beating it, I started looking over the trophy list. And I'm like, oh, this is definitely doable. Is Terminator story based? It is. Yeah, it's a single player game. There's no multiplayer, and it's it's just really interesting because I feel like I forget the name of the studio that made this game. I know they made the RoboCop games as well, but the thing I really appreciated is they actually captured the tone of Terminator really well, like much better than I expected. And the story was somewhat interesting. It was definitely lower budget. You can tell. It's like if you choose to play this game, don't go in assuming it's going to be like a triple A, highly polished, high production value game. It's not, but it's not bad either. It's a fun game, and that was a platinum that I got earlier in the year, and I actually even played the DLC for it to get the 100%. And there's like this side content where you actually play as the Terminator and you go around like searching for survivors and stuff. And that was a nice little twist, and it just felt really good. Teon, thank you. Teon is the name of the studio that did Terminator Resistance. So yeah, they enhanced it for the PS5. It looked and ran better. I mean, I can't really compare it to the original because I didn't play it, but yeah, that was a highlight of the year, and I think it deserves to be at the number 4 spot because I did have a couple of struggles, if I recall correctly, when I was trying to get the platinum for this game. I ran into a couple of annoying spots where I had to like reload certain things and I was confused with my save slots and whatnot. But outside of that, it was a mostly enjoyable experience. And um, again, if you're a Terminator fan, I definitely can recommend this game. So with that being said, we're going to move on to the. Let me put my coffee over here. Actually, we're going to move on to the number three spot. Let's see what's on my list here. Okay, so for number three, I put Death Stranding 2 on the beach. And my journey to platinum this game is well documented on the channel here. I did numerous gameplay streams for Death Stranding 2 on the beach. And man, the overall platinum experience for Death Stranding 2 is it's great and a struggle at the same time. It's a game that I would say the struggle you feel going for the platinum perfectly mirrors, I believe, what this game is trying to achieve, which is a big part of Death Stranding 2 is overcoming obstacles, is finding a way to just get from point A to point B and mission accomplished. You did it. If you choose to platinum this game, Death Stranding 2, that is, it's definitely going to push your limit, I would say, in how in it's an exercise in like patience more than anything, where it I would say the biggest thing it asks of you is to respect the terrain, respect the time it's going to take. I say this because there's just no easy way around it. Like if you want to set up a great network of zip lines and stuff like that to just really get around quickly, and I can start five-starring these facilities like that, you still have to go out of your way to set up those zip lines. So that's going to take time. It's going to take effort. And so there's just no easy solution to get the platinum for this game. You can be more efficient, certainly. You can be more effective overall in your approach, but I definitely found that it was a game that by the time I got to the end of it, it had an immensely satisfying feeling attached to it. Like I would actually say, like, if I were to rate the platinum trophies I've earned this year in just terms of sheer satisfaction, like when that platinum trophy popped, Death Stranding 2 would probably take the number one spot, and like the level of satisfaction was very about as high as it can get, because there are a couple of, I will say the difficulty does ramp up a little bit with those missions you have to do for Mr. Impossible. Those ones could definitely start to get under your skin a little bit. But the whole journey of Death Stranding 2 was an awesome one this year. And it there were moments in Death Stranding 2 where I thought I wasn't going to get the platinum, where I was like, this is taking way too long. So I put 136 hours in Death Stranding 2. That's how long it took me to platinum it. And really, the times when I felt like I was going to give up on it, and this is why I'm saying it's about patience and persistence with this platinum in particular, is there were so many times where I'm like hauling all this cargo and I got to go up to like the tallest mountain, and I finally make it up there. And it's like, okay, this has to be it. Like, I'm not doing this again. Like, this is the last run I'm doing for this godforsaken facility at the top of this mountain, just to find out that, like, well, actually, you have like just the smallest little sliver of the last star left. In other words, you still got to do one more. And there were multiple times where that happened with some of these more difficult facilities where I'm like, you know what? I think I'm good. Like, I think this might be just where I end it. But really, all it was is I just had to take a little break, and that itch came back where it's like, nah, I can't give up. Like, I've come too far to give up on it. I can do one more. But that's where, again, you have to the game forces you to respect that if you're going to get the platinum, you're going to have to kind of do it on its time to a degree. So, um, I would say the reason why Death Stranding 2 is ranking so high for the platinum journey is because the the challenge that's presented with this platinum is different than most other games, in that most other games it's a collectathon or it's difficulty based. Sometimes it can be grindy, but in Death Stranding 2, not only is it just grindy, but it's grindy, and also you like the difficulty comes in, are you willing to just take your good old time to go deliver these packages back and forth, or are you going to try to rush it because you're eager to just finish it, and the more you rush it, the more you try to force it, the worse it gets. And it kind of teaches you some kind of lesson in that sense. So definitely got to give a big shout out to Death Stranding 2. Easily my favorite game of the year. Really fantastic game, and one that I definitely won't be forgetting anytime soon. I assume Death Stranding 2 is going to end up being a highlight of the generation, where when I do a stream where we kind of look back on the games of the generation, Death Stranding 2 will be part of that. No doubt about it. So big shout out to that game. But now you're probably wondering, gee, what games are at the number 2 and number 1 spot in terms of your platinums for 2025? My number 2. So we're going to move on to the second one here. My number 2 is Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater, and this one I really don't have to spend too much time talking about because, well, um, again, my experience with it is well documented. But Hanzo, you're heading out, man. I appreciate you chilling for a little while. Enjoy the rest of your day. Metal Gear Solid Delta was definitely a highlight of the year, and actually one of the reasons why it's so low on my list, or high, I guess it's at the number 2 spot, is because I was surprised at, I don't want to say how easy it was to get the platinum, but like I went in thinking it was going to be way more annoying and challenging than I thought it would be, and it actually turned out to be just the perfect amount that I needed it to be. And we have Josh Z, a member for 68 months at Play Has No Limits Plus. So, Josh, thank you for being such a long time member, man. You're saying, I'm trying to get the platinum for Expedition 33 now. I'm enjoying it. Difficulty trophies don't bother me. RNG and online trophies, on the other hand, are the literal worst. Should never be included in games. I hate luck based activities. Yeah, Mrs. MBG knows a little something about that right now. I do agree with you on that one, Josh. Multiplayer trophies, I only have a problem with if it's for like an add-on multiplayer. If the game is multiplayer based, I'm okay with that as long as they're not ridiculous. And I think most people are, feel that way, where like if it's a multiplayer based game, you would expect there to be multiplayer trophies. I know what you mean though, like with games, even though it's kind of rare these days, games that have add-on multiplayers, or multiplayer that isn't necessarily like the center of what the game is offering, and then they throw in these like ridiculous trophies. That's like, okay, well, that's going to kind of ruin the experience. But you have to let me know if you end up getting that platinum for Expedition 33. That's one game that I didn't get the platinum for. I think I have like 65% of the trophies, or 70%, something like that. And I think the ones that I have left to get for Expedition are pretty difficult. Actually, I think they're some of the more difficult ones in the game. So there's a chance, like I said earlier, that one day I'll go back to it. But um, Will, I have that trophy. Yeah, I was thinking about trying to get the platinum for Battlefield 6, and spoiler, that's not a game that's on my platinum list here. Uh, I went out of my way to get that trophy first because I knew it would be like the most difficult, but then I just kind of gave up on it. I'm like, you know what? A lot of these multiplayer, see, Battlefield 6 is a multiplayer game with multiplayer trophies, and some of those multiplayer trophies are very grindy. Like there's some of them I'm like, you know what, man, I don't know if I want to do this. Uh, but if I go back to playing Battlefield regularly, it could be one of those types of platinums. Also because I didn't want to play the campaign. I know that sounds kind of funny, but I played like the first mission of the campaign. I'm like, I'm not feeling this. I don't want to do this. I just want to play the multiplayer. And so to know that in order to get the platinum for Battlefield 6, I would have to play through the entire thing. Dark Souls 2 trophies are BS. There's online trophies and hardly anyone plays. You know what, man? I remember. It's funny because when I was looking over my list, one of the first games I ever played on the account that I currently play on is Dark Souls 2 Scholar of the First Sin. I think I bought that when it was on sale or something, and I'm like, I'm gonna platinum this game. And then I look at the trophies, I'm like, I'm not platinuming this game. I was so annoyed and distraught because I'm like, you're absolutely right. Like some of the worst trophy lists, dude. Yeah, push this back in here. But yeah, talking about Metal Gear Solid Delta, the reason why this one is number 2 on my list is because I I really thought so I knew to get the platinum for Metal Gear Delta, I was gonna have to get the Foxhound rank. And for those who don't know, getting the Foxhound rank in this game, basically you have to complete the entire game without getting spotted once, without getting alerted, without killing anybody. You can only knock people out. Um, you have to basically play a perfect stealth run. Now, I will say Konami did change something to make it much easier to get the Foxhound rank in this game, or the big boss rank. I mean, not Foxhound. I think you need the big boss rank. It's one or the other there. And one of the things they changed is you can kind of just save the game and reload, save, reload, or like it has automatic saves. So anytime you would mess something up, you could just automatically reload it back to the last checkpoint. So, it's built into the game. You're not cheesing it, you're not exploiting anything. It's literally built in there for you to do that. But it does kind of take away, I think, for some people, how like getting these rankings back in the day was much more difficult and now it's much more easy. Um, so I think for some people it kind of takes away from it a little bit. But for somebody like me, where I never tried to get those rankings because of that, I'm like, dude, if I mess up, I don't want to have to do like half the game over again. I don't want to deal with that. So this made it much more digestible, I guess. And overall, like it was a really enjoyable experience. I mean, maybe the fact that it's so low on my list here, or high on my list, I mean to say, is because of the nostalgia factor, because you guys know how much of a Metal Gear Solid fan I am. And that I just think Konami did a really great job with this remake. And it took me about 45 hours to get the platinum, and I enjoyed it. The only part that was kind of annoying was, I would say, trying to get all of the animals, like hunting them all down and making sure you can like fill out your entire list. That was probably the most annoying thing. But yeah, Metal Gear Solid Delta, another great game, great platinum experience. Platinum, I felt really good about getting, very satisfying. I was curious to see when they released the Fox Hunt multiplayer if they were going to have a trophy list for that. Luckily, they didn't, so I just got to enjoy it without having to worry about multiplayer trophies, and that was quite nice. Boss, what are you doing? You coming up? Come on. And so we're going to move on to my number one, and this one's going to be, I think, a little bit surprising, because my number one platinum this year was not a 2025 video game. My number one platinum that I feel, I would say, just like the best about earning this year was Silent Hill 2 Remake. So obviously, I played Silent Hill 2. I started playing it last year, and originally I wasn't planning on getting the platinum, but I'd kind of made this decision where I'm like, I really really enjoyed this game, and I don't think I've ever platinumed any Silent Hill games before, got all the achievements for them or whatever. So I think I want to make this the first one. And I didn't realize when I decided to do that it was going to, like, how difficult, and well, difficult isn't the word, like kind of annoying, to be honest. It was kind of annoying because the amount of like walkthroughs I was going to have to watch, knowing there's like 6 different endings and all this stuff. Um I It was one of these things where it's like I didn't realize how how daunting it was going to be. But I really persisted, and Silent Hill 2 Remake was the first platinum that I got of the year. And I can honestly say that it is my most satisfying platinum trophy I've earned in 2025. Death Stranding 2, or not satisfying is not the right word. Death Stranding 2 is the most satisfying. I would say Silent Hill 2 Remake feels the most rewarding. And I do separate those things. Satisfaction to me, I kind of define as something that just makes me feel good. Like I just like this sigh of relief and that dopamine rush or whatever of like, there it is, I got it. Um, I would say in terms of, if we're just kind of separating these different feelings and how trophy hunting makes you feel and how unlocking certain platinums makes you feel, Silent Hill 2 Remake felt more like it just felt more rewarding in that the satisfaction level was not as high, but just the overall essence of the reward of like, I did it. Like I did something that I thought I wasn't going to do that I was like when I looked over that trophy list originally, I'm like I'm not doing this. And especially when I found out that I was going to have to watch like a 2-hour walkthrough to get all the collectibles and just questioning like is this going to be worth it? And it's one of those things where it's like, well, you came this far, you have 70% of the trophies, just, you know, just do it, man. It'll probably feel worth it in the end. And it did. It felt very, very rewarding. I felt like that was a platinum that was hard earned, and not in the traditional sense of like I beat a difficult boss or, it was something that again, like I went to great lengths. So, like it's nothing like that, but it just was something that I guess it required a certain level of effort that I normally would not put into any game. Take just for a platinum trophy, but for some reason with Silent Hill 2 remake, I just kind of felt compelled to do it, and yeah, it was not an easy one, man. And the difficulty came in a different form, in a different package than anything, and also because it is one of the things I want to say too is it is a Silent Hill game. Getting the platinum for it was different and unique compared to like almost all other games. In the same way that getting the platinum for Death Stranding was kind of unique because of the gameplay and the things it asked you to do. It's kind of similar with Silent Hill 2 remake, where just some of the things I remember specifically trying to achieve some of those endings and some of the things you have to do, some of the permutations and you have to have certain save spots, and it kind of reminded me of Resident Evil, I guess, which makes sense because they're both survival horror. They kind of, you know, they both kind of have that similar feel to it, where it's like multiple playthroughs, multiple save spots. You're gonna have to do very specific things to initiate certain things to happen, and yeah, I had to put Silent Hill 2 remake as my number one because when looking back at my list, I almost forgot that. Oh yeah, like this was a platinum I got in January, and it was the first one of the year, so. Shout out to all of these games that I got the platinums for. It was a good time. But with that being said, now we're going to move on to some very different lists. So now we're no longer talking about games I played in the year 2025. Now we're talking about games that I played over the entire not even just PS5 generation, but basically since I came back to PlayStation. So there is a PS4 game, I believe. I think there's two PS4 games in here. So, like I said, 2025 marked the year I finally achieved 50 platinum trophies, and I told you guys I would do a couple of lists. And so we're going to start with the first list here, and the first list is the 5 platinums. Now, again, this is a list that will probably be updated every 50 platinums or so. So I don't know when I'm going to hit 100 platinums. I don't know. It took me quite a long time to hit 50. It took me about 6 years to hit 50 platinums. So it could very well it could take another 6 years to hit another 50. I don't know. But this list will probably not remain permanent, although some games will probably stay here forever. So just so we're clear here. Oh, by the way, by the way, I have to do like a runner up here before I move on to the top 5 most proud platinums. Just sticking to 2025, a platinum that I earned this year that I have to just throw out here because it's just so funny. I told you guys about it. I'm not going to tell the whole story, but Mortal Kombat 1, that was a game that I played in 2023. I grinded it. I got I got 50 out of 51 trophies. I only needed one more Titan battle. Wasn't waiting for it. Had to wait for season 1 to finish, and I decided to move on. Literally a week ago, I decided I'm gonna go back to the game, and I got the platinum within 5 minutes of playing it. So, uh, that's actually responsible for my 53rd platinum. But just have to put that as a little runner up there. Okay, but now moving on to my 5 platinums I'm most proud of. Okay. And I want to define what that means. Like, just so you understand why I chose these games. For me, I guess I would say feeling proud of a platinum, there's many different factors that go into it. How difficult it was to achieve, how much I had to persist. If a platinum got close to breaking me or did break me and I still got it. Time. How like and the game that's going to kick this off at the number 5 spot is perfectly encapsulates how crazy some of these platinum journeys can be. Uh, this is going to be quite a shocker, I think. My number 5 for most proud platinums is the PlayStation 4 version of PUBG, or Player Unknown's Battlegrounds. Now, I know this is a little bit of a weird one to put on here, or it may seem like a weird one, but there's actually two very specific reasons. The first, well, for those who don't know, I played the crap out of PUBG. I got addicted to that game. I love this game. And I played it on PlayStation 4. I was playing it on Xbox originally, but then when I moved over to PlayStation, I started playing it on PlayStation 4, and I decided I wanted to get all the trophies. Um, the first is just because the difficulty. I believe there's a trophy for winning 10 chicken dinners. That's a pretty challenging one. However, I put over 1,200 hours into it, so obviously I was going to get that eventually, but that can be a very, very difficult trophy. You talk about multiplayer trophies, that can be a very difficult one. But there's one specific reason why I put this game on my list, and it wasn't because of the winning 10 chicken dinners. It was because of my personal experience with getting the platinum for this game. There is a trophy in this game for getting, I believe, 1,000 kills. Okay, by any means necessary, just 1,000 kills. Now, obviously, like I said, I put over 1,200 hours into it. That's going to happen naturally over time. However, years went, I think like a year and a half or 2 years went by or something where I played this game. And I'm like, I'm looking at my trophy list, and this is the last one I need. And it didn't unlock. And I'm like, well, there has to be a way to check my total kills. And I went to go check, and it's like, yeah, dude, you have way, way more than 1,000 kills. And it dawned on me that this trophy was glitched and would not unlock. And when I tell you that this almost ruined my experience, where I'm like, you got to be kidding me, dude. Like, I was crashing out. I'm like, I was about to write a letter to what's the name of, what are they just called, PUBG Inc. now? I don't know. I was like, gonna write him an angry letter being like, dude, unlock this trophy. Okay, you know how much time I put in this game? And it's because I just had this really intense feeling of like, any game that I put over 1,000 hours into, I need to have the platinum. I need to have all the achievements, whatever it is, because it's like, that's the least. I know this game will never end, but if I, to me, that is the end, right? Like, that's my like certificate of, you completed this game. You did everything it asked you to do. You know, and then after that, you're just playing for fun. And this trophy would just wouldn't unlock. So years went by, and I just accepted that I'm not getting the platinum for this game. And it's not my fault. The game is glitched, the trophy's glitched, there's nothing I can do about it. And then one day I was playing, and I was playing solo, and I ran somebody over with a quad and killed him, and then it just popped. That had to have been like my 4,000th kill or something, and then it just popped. And I was like celebrating, I was freaking out. I was like, I can't believe this. I still have the video clip saved on my PlayStation, I believe. At least it should be saved. And and I have to say that because of that journey of how annoying it was, where I was certain it was never going to pop, it was never going to lock, it was glitched, it was just never going to happen. And then one day it just kind of happened out of nowhere. I had to put that at my number 5 because of just how long it took, and the, I don't know, the range of emotions that were experienced. So that's my number 5 in terms of platinums I'm most proud of. Although I did find out with the recent PS5 release of PUBG that they erased. Like, if you choose to play the PS5 version of PUBG, your trophies don't carry over. They have a whole separate list. It's like you have to do it again, and I'm like, I'm good. Like, I'm never doing that again. Thank you, Michael. I appreciate that. 1,000 kills, that's a piece of cake, but getting 4,000 revives in Battlefield 6. Oh, man. Well, the thing about getting kills in PUBG is it's not really easy. Getting kills in PUBG isn't necessarily easy. The time to kill is very high. But we're going to move on to the 4th platinum I'm most proud of. out of the 50 I've unlocked. And number 4 has to go to um, Elden Ring. I'm giving it to Elden Ring. And the reason why I'm giving it to Elden Ring is because I had another interesting journey with Elden Ring. I played this game the day it came out. I really enjoyed it, but you guys know, or for those who've been following for some time, I didn't necessarily feel the same way about Elden Ring as everybody else did, because Elden Ring to me felt like, how would I put it? A version of Dark Souls that wasn't as good as Dark Souls to me. And I understand why people love Elden Ring so much. It's like, this is the fully realized version of Dark Souls, you know? And I'm like, yeah, but it's also open world, and I don't like that. I don't like the fact that it's open world. So I wasn't as high up on Elden Ring as everybody else was, but I really still did enjoy it. And I remember it was quite difficult and quite challenging for me to actually beat Elden Ring for some reason. Like I needed people to help me at the end, and I just kind of sucked at Elden Ring. It's weird though, because like I beat Bloodborne, I beat Dark Souls 1 through 3, but with Elden Ring, something just wasn't really clicking. So after I beat it, I was like, okay, I'm done with it. And then 2 years later, when the DLC came out, everybody was saying, play the DLC. You got to play the DLC. And I was like, well, I don't feel comfortable playing the DLC because I didn't platinum the game yet. Like I feel like I can't move on to a trophyless DLC if I didn't platinum the base game yet. And one of the reasons that mattered with Elden Ring not platinuming it, boss, don't start. Don't start. One of the reasons okay, it mattered to me was because I knew that one of the things you had to achieve to get the platinum for Elden Ring was you had to beat all the bosses. And I'm like, so I'm looking at the trophy list and I have half the trophies unlocked. And it's like, well, this means I've missed so many optional bosses. And I feel like I can't just move on without doing that. So I basically made the decision, and I never do this. I was like, okay, I'm gonna just hunker down, and I'm gonna relearn how to play this game, and I'm gonna go for the platinum. And then I did it. I did it. It was shocking to me. I was like, I can't believe I did that. Like, I can't believe I went back to Elden Ring, relearned the game, got good at the game again, and persisted, and was like, decided to go for the platinum. I just, that to me is one I'm particularly proud of because it's super, super, super rare. It almost like never happens. Boss, stop fighting me. It like never happens that I go back to platinum games. I've gone back to beat games, I've gone back to play games. But usually when I walk away from a game deciding like I'm not getting this platinum, I can't get this platinum, I don't go back to get the platinum. This was an exception for one reason or another, and because of that, it's one I'm very proud of. And yeah, Elden Ring was a tough one. It was a tough one. What build did I run? I don't even remember, dude. I think at some point I just started going crazy with the strength build and dual wielding like the biggest, most powerful swords and just trying to destroy everything. Okay, boss, like, can you stop, bro? Like, no, 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 no. I was worried about this. Okay. Yeah, guys, if you want to support the channel, feel free to do so. Well, if we hit 25 members, we'll feed the beast here. He's about to be very annoying. He looks giant. I know it's because he's closer to the camera than I am, and he's also a very large cat. Will's like, that's gaming right there. Gaming. Okay, 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 boss. But back up, back up, back up. And Michael Werneth comes in. Michael says, I'm gonna try to help us out here. I'm gonna try to help my man boss out. He drops 10 membership gifts for you guys. Let's get some W's flowing in the chat for Michael. He's always doing big things for the community here. Michael, thank you so much for that, man. Well, he set you up. He set you guys up. 10 more. We hit 25. We can feed the beast. Okay. Whoa, 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 whoa. Please don't slap me.
Holy
That's for Michael, by the way. Boss looks funny right now with his arm on you. He's like, just stop. You can't come over here. You can't come over here, dude. Michael says, I'd like to acknowledge myself and my valiant efforts to support Boss. I am awesome. That's true, Michael. That's very true. You are awesome. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see if we can get some extra help in here. Get 10 more memberships. Feed the beast. Here, Boss. We'll prep it. We'll prep the treats. Oh God, maybe that was a mistake. Now Leia's coming over. All right. Yeah, where's Corey at, bro? Corey and Hellbound. They would dunk it. They would tag team it. I bet. Well, we'll see. We still have time. I'm still making my way through the lists. Pay-per-view fight. Yeah, Boss is gonna fight me. Boss is just making me nervous because he keeps wanting to walk over here. Like, he can stay where he's at, but he can't come over here. He's gonna get in the way of the chat. He's gonna knock everything over, and he just doesn't care. He thinks that's gonna get him treats. See. Whoa. Come on. I gotta finish my list, guys. I have to go to my number 3. My number 3. Boss, can you let me talk about my number 3? The platinum games I'm most proud of. MBG, the problem with trophies is it makes you linger on games when you should start new games and only build to your backlog more. Plus, it feels like a job more than fun. I do agree that it can feel like a job at times, depending on the type of game. I do try to create a limit for myself where if a game truly becomes so unenjoyable for the platinum that I'm like, I actually am starting to hate it and it's creating nothing but negative emotions, I start to feel like, I am going to move on. But at the same time, it's funny because some of the platinums that I'm listing here, it's kind of those really intense negative emotions that lead to the greatest sense of pride in that, like, I did it though. Like, I still did it. And actually, the next game I'm going to talk about is a great example of that. So as Boss just kind of chills here, again, guys, we'll try to strive for 10 more members. We'll see if we can make it happen so I can feed Boss some treats because he's literally looking like he's going to start fighting me. My number 3 platinum that I am most proud of is Returnal. Yeah, I had to put Returnal at the number 3 spot because this was a game that required a level of persistence from me that I can't recall many other games asking of me. Returnal was already a difficult game, and it's one of those games where you just have to get good. Boss, please stop. You just have to get good at it, right? And especially if you want to get the platinum, like, you have to basically master the game. All of this was fine. I put about 65 to 70 hours into Returnal. Okay, hold on. Come on. Okay. Yeah, just go into your home there and just chill. I put about 65 hours into Returnal. And I enjoyed my time with it. I had a really great time playing Returnal. 65 hours well spent, in my opinion. But the one trophy that was missing, and I'm like, okay, this is a little bit annoying, but I guess I'll keep playing, was I had to find one more glyph. The problem is finding the glyphs in Returnal. And if you platinumed Returnal, you know my pain. The problem with it is the glyphs are RNG. It's RNG. You want to talk about like randomly generated nonsense that's just pure luck based. And there was only one trophy attached to it. And that was the last trophy I needed. And I'm like, okay, I guess I'll just keep playing this over and over. So you had to just keep replaying. And I was like, okay, I'll do this. However, I didn't realize what I was getting myself into because 20 hours later, I'm at nearly 90 hours in this game. Still didn't get it. This game kind of did break me. I'm not gonna lie. Returnal. I remember I got so mad. I pulled the disc out of my console and I was like yelling at it. And I'm like, I'm gonna destroy this disc. Like I'm done. This is how pissed off because it was just one of these things. Where it's like, how could this game do this to me? Like I was angry with Housemark. I was literally like, curse you, Housemark. Um, I get and I took a little break and then I went back and it took me another 10 hours to be clear. It took me another 10 hours, but I finally found after all the RNG it finally triggered. I got the last glyph. I got the platinum and I want to tell you like that's one of those rare experiences where that singular trophy and that in my opinion that was poor game design. The game design itself is not poor. We could have this conversation separately at some point, but making bad trophy lists, that was a bad trophy that should not have been put in that list because I'm an example of like this is what you do to people who want to complete the entirety of your game. You made me put like an extra 30 to 35 hours into this game that it's like I did need to move on to something else. And I get it. It's like, well, I could have stopped at any time. And I think it's just a reflection of my personality more than anything where like I just couldn't do it. Like I couldn't walk away knowing I just need this one thing. I couldn't do it. I'm like it would always bother me. I would never forget that game for a bad reason. Where it's like I would always remember like Returnal, the one that got away. Like I just need that one trophy. And I knew like eventually I'd probably go back and get it anyway since it's just one trophy. And I'm like, all right, I'm just going to force myself to persist. But because I forced myself and it almost did kind of break me in that sense, that's why I feel so strongly about it because I did do it. It's like that I did. I didn't give up on it. I kept pushing to get that last freaking glyph. And because of that, it is easily now one of my most proud platinums that I've ever gotten. And in a sense, it did make the game more memorable. Even though some of the memories are not great, most of them are good, and it's an amazing game. But it just overall added to the experience. So definitely have to give a shout out to Returnal, and I need counseling now. Yeah, I can get crazy, dude. Wait until you get to my number one. The number one, which I'm close to getting to, the number one for sure broke me. Like it broke me, man. Returnal is pretty close though. In fact, what do I have as my number two here? Oh, okay, yeah. For a second, I was like, man, what's below Returnal? So, all right, I'm now going to move on to my number two. Again, these are my five most proud platinums that I've earned. My number two is Sifu. Okay, Sifu is another one that. Are you guys serious? These cats are fighting. Sifu was a fantastic, amazing game. Very, very difficult. To get the platinum in Sifu is very challenging. And can you guys chill? Oh my god. My cats are basically doing Sifu right now. They're doing Kung Fu. Yeah, Sifu was a fantastic game, man. One of the best games to come out this generation. Absolute standout of a game. The platinum is very, very difficult though. And Sifu, the interesting thing about this game is similar to Returnal and many other games of this vein. Like you just have to get good. You have to meet the game on its terms. You cannot beat Sifu without mastering the mechanics. You certainly cannot platinum Sifu without mastering the mechanics. And I remember the final boss battle for the platinum. I forget I forget what the parameters were exactly to do it, but I remember it got close to besting me and breaking me. Where I'm like, this is really pushing my limit here. But I stuck with it, and to be clear, when I got the platinum, there were no difficulty levels. Yeah, this was just the standard difficulty. Um, and I felt really, really, really good about getting that platinum because I remember like it was. one of the most challenging games I ever played, certainly one of the most challenging platinums I ever got. And as time has went on, I found myself kind of, as I was looking over this list, I'm like, dude, I loved Sifu. Like that game was fucking amazing. It's like one of the best games I ever played. Um, and knowing just how challenging it is to get that platinum, I had to put that at number two. And so, as you can see, like Sifu compared to Returnal, these two games are on my list for very different reasons. I think Returnal would probably not be on this list in terms of proud platinums, games that I feel proud that like I earned that one. It's possible Returnal could still be on here, but it was the torturous reason for Returnal where the game was like amazing. What if I made a list of best games I played this generation, Returnal would easily be on there. But it was that extra pain that I had to go through and suffering, I guess you could say, to put it on my most proud list. Sifu is in the same vein, but differently. The thing about Sifu is it never made me feel like something was unfair. And that's what I appreciated so much about that game is like even though it took me a long time to platinum it and I really had to persist, I knew it was me. The game like just kept telling me over and over, it's you. It's not the game, it's you. You can master this and you know where you keep messing up and you know where you have to perfect it. And it really was just trial and error, trial and error, trial and error. So it wasn't random. It really just felt like I had to just continually chip away at it and build my skill up. And I feel like because of that, not only is it a platinum that I'm most one of the platinums I'm most proud of, but it is one of the most satisfying platinums I've ever obtained as well. And it's up there, man. It's if I were to do like just my all time top five platinums, it might be in the top five, perhaps. So Sifu's number two. How many platinums did I get this year? I think it was like 8 or 9 or something like that. This year in particular, I did not get a whole lot. I just added to it with Mortal Kombat 1 the other day, but this was not my best year for platinums, I don't think. Certainly not. All right, so we are now going to move on to my number one, the number one game, specifically platinum, the number one platinum I'm most proud of. And I think some of you know which game this is going to be. Somebody here is going to be very surprised. The number one game for me, the number one platinum that I'm most proud of, goes to Lies of P. It goes to Lies of P. And the story with Lies of P is an interesting one because there's one very specific reason this game is my number one. Okay. So, for those who don't know, in Lies of P, it's not really a spoiler at this point. I'm not going to tell you what the boss battle is, but at the end of Lies of P, there is an optional boss battle. Okay. And you don't have to fight this boss. Now, to get the platinum, you have to fight this boss. Now, I didn't look into how to get the platinum until after I'd already beaten the game. And so, to make a long story short, what I had essentially done was I locked myself in to the only way I could get the platinum for this game was I had to play a new game plus run, and then I had to beat the final optional boss battle on new game plus. Not regular like this optional boss battle for me was already insanely difficult regularly. Um so when I realized that, I was like, I can do this. I actually felt very confident. And so I replayed the game again and I got to the end. And the final two boss battles, the last one and then the last optional one, they broke me. Especially that last one, dude. In fact, it broke me so bad. I remember how I was like I was I was raging and I'm like I'm done. I'm done. I'm never doing this again. I uninstalled the game. I took the disc out. I'm like I'm done. F this game. I'm never playing it again. Um that's how pissed off I was cuz I just could not do it. I could not do it. And then I just sat with that for like a day or two, and I'm like, I can't accept this. Like, I just couldn't accept defeat. I just couldn't do it. I'm like, I don't know how I'm gonna do it, but I reinstalled the game and I just over and over. Dude, it drove me nuts. And one of the things is in Lies of P, you can customize your weapons and do different weapon configurations and put different pieces of weapons together. And you can try to come up with these different builds. And I extracted everything. I was getting so desperate, man, where I'm like, is there any way I can cheat this? Is there any way I can glitch? I was looking for anything and there was nothing. It's just, I just had to sit there and just eventually keep going and going and going. It was by far, at least for the, for the 50 platinums that I have, this was, and yeah, it's interesting because you're mentioning like Astrobot. That was difficult too, but this was just on another level of like, I didn't think I was going to do it. Like, in fact, I was so convinced I wasn't going to do it. Like I said, I uninstalled the game and I was done. But there was just this itch in my brain that I had to, I'm like, no. It's like, I refuse. I was just like, I'm not doing it. I'm not going to accept defeat with this game. And luckily I got it. And I'll never forget when that platinum popped. I was like, I just kind of knew. I'm like, well, there it is. The number one platinum. No, I don't want any other game to take Lies of P's spot, because if another game takes the spot of Lies of P in terms of platinums I'm most proud of, then it means, I mean, God, man, it means there's holes in my wall somewhere. I don't, it's not good. So yeah. We have Armani Coleman, Armani Pepsi Coleman with a $5 super chat. He says, "What's up? It seems like Rise of Hydra is cooked for not showing at the Game Awards, but at least I still get to play 007 First Light and Wolverine." Yeah, I was thinking about that, Armani. I was thinking about how we watched that entire Game Awards stream and no Rise of Hydra anywhere. And I knew you were going to be disappointed in that, but I'm not sure what to think of that game, honestly. Like, I don't think it's cooked. I just think it might be one of these games where it comes out much later than we thought. Like, I could see it being like a game that probably doesn't come out till the end of 2027. Because the fact that we haven't seen anything. But, I could be wrong. It could just simply be that they're waiting to show it off and market it until really, really close to release. But you think Returnal was worse, though? I think the reason why you're in terms of crashing out, Returnal was probably worse because the thing that was pissing me off so much about Returnal was it wasn't my fault. Like, there was nothing I could do. Like, I was yelling at Housemarque. I was going to write them an angry letter next. But Lies of P, I think that one pushed me. Like, that's the thing about it, is like it pushed my limits of like, so how good do you think you are at video games for real though? Because, and I felt good. I'm like, I beat Bloodborne. I'm like, I beat Elden Ring. I beat all the Dark Souls games. Like, I beat difficult games. I beat this game, and it's like, yeah, but can you beat the optional boss in New Game Plus with the weapons you have and the level you're at, knowing you can't move from here? And I just was struggling to accept the idea that I couldn't do it. And so it kind of, it forced me to kind of like push past the limit that I thought was there, which was really cool. Could I do it again? Probably not. I don't think so. I just don't think it would be possible. But I didn't think it was possible then. So that's my list for the 50. I have 53 platinums. Those are the 5 I'm most proud of. And so now we're going to move on to the next list, which is, let me bring it up here. Now this list is different. Top 5 platinums that I had the most fun getting. So, I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. We're talking about just thinking about the overall package experience from start to finish, which games, and fun is, see, what makes this list kind of difficult is fun can be perceived differently for people. For some people, fun is in the difficulty. Like I can say I had fun platinuming Returnal most of the time. You know, all of the game, it should go without saying that every game that I've discussed so far, I've had fun playing. I've enjoyed, to be clear. But this list, I kind of wanted to just put for games that there was no frustration, there was no difficulty. It was just, although the number one game on this list, there was definitely difficulty, but the fun factor actually completely washed it away. Um, but yeah, these are trophies or platinums that I was just, when I'm sitting there and I'm kind of reminiscing and thinking like, how did I feel while getting this? So we're gonna start with my number five. And this one might be a little bit surprising to you guys as well, because I don't know that this is a game I really talked about on my channel. Or if I did, I certainly didn't talk about it very extensively. The number five here is Zombie Army 4 Dead War. This is a kind of a random platinum that I have, where for those who don't know what this game is, it's basically a four-player co-op game where it's like World War II zombies, and it's exactly what it is. Um it's very similar to Call of Duty Zombies, but it's also different in many ways. Um but this was a game that when I thought about it, I was like, "Oh yeah, I remember playing this." And I remember playing it with my friends, and uh, it was just a good time. Like there wasn't anything particularly challenging about getting the platinum. There was nothing that I look back on. I'm like, oh my god, I raged at this part of it. It was just pure co-op fun with my friends, and a platinum that, while maybe not the most satisfying platinum, one that I'm like, that was a really fun platinum to earn. Nice and easy, nothing too daunting, and got to earn the platinum by just playing the game with my friends on, and because it is a co-op game. You can play it solo if you want, but it's meant to be played cooperatively. So that's my number five game, surprisingly, on in games I just had the most fun platinuming. And I actually think that was a PS4 game. So I think that was if I recall correctly, I think I got that platinum in 2019. So shout out to Zombie Army 4. We got to get another Zombie Army game at some point. It's really fun. Um, I'm curious. Did anybody else here ever play Zombie Army 4? It's just me. Am I the only one? All right, boss, come on. All right. So my number four here. Number four platinum that I had the most fun getting. This one's also going to be kind of a shocker. I'm not going to lie. Like, this is one that I did put in the thumbnail, but nobody would have expected this to be on any of my lists. Resident Evil Resistance. And I know that this sounds crazy. This is a crazy game to have on any list. But for those who don't know what Resident Evil Resistance is, it is the multiplayer mode that shipped with Resident Evil 3 Remake. But what's interesting about this is it was treated like a separate game. They even had a full blown trophy list where you could earn a platinum. I think it had like 50 trophies. And I had to put this one on here because when I was looking over my list, I totally forgot. I was like, oh my God, yeah. This was a game a multiplayer game. So two multiplayer games so far. This was a multiplayer game that I remember playing after beating Resident Evil 3, and I played it with my friends. And Resident Evil Resistance is an asymmetric multiplayer Resident Evil game where one person would play as Nemesis, or William Birkin or whatever, and the other players, the other four, would play as survivors. Or there was like the mastermind, I guess. So you didn't just play as Nemesis, like you played as the mastermind. You got to lay traps and all this stuff, and it was a really fun experience. And I actually thought it was a really well made Resident Evil multiplayer game. I'm like, damn, this is actually really fun. It was so fun that I ended up getting the platinum for it, and I had to just throw this one in here because, again, this was another one that I just remember having a really, really good time. It was just pure fun, multiplayer mayhem, I guess, in the Resident Evil universe with my friends playing this. And And so, it was very surprising to me when I was looking over all my platinums. I like almost completely forgot. This was another PS4 game, by the way. Another PS4 game, bro. So multiple PS4 games making their way to this list. And we have Big MP. He comes in, he drops 5 more membership gifts for you guys coming in out of nowhere. He wants to get us to the goal. Michael Werner says, "Oh, snap. Oh, snap." Big MP, thank you so much for 5 more membership gifts, man. Give you a screaming gopher for that one. And that brings us up to 20 members on the day. Boss is losing his mind right now. Okay, so, okay. Please don't hurt me. Please don't hurt me. I swear, we just need 5 more, and then you can have your treats, man. He's looking at you guys. He's like, where are they? Chill. 5 more, guys. We could do it. I believe in this community. Don't hurt me. Don't start biting me. I'm just trying to go down my list. But thank you for the 5 more gifted. Okay, don't. You can't go over there. And yeah, again, if any of you here received a member gift, when you're done here today, go check out the latest Morning with the Misses episode. All right, boss, I'm going to have, I know you're getting excited. But we got to come over here, okay? I need you to come over here. It's okay. You're good. Just chill in your cat tower. You're good. All right. So yeah, Resident Evil Resistance. Shout out to that game. That was a really fun game. And to me, Resident Evil Resistance is proof, even though I think Resident Evil Outbreak is proof that Capcom can make a good Resident Evil multiplayer experience. Resistance is a more modern game that proves they can still make good, competent, fun multiplayer experiences. I'm pretty sure that game is dead now. I don't even know if the servers are still online or not. But I had to put that at my number 4, man. Hey, MBG, hope you're having a great day. I've gotten 31 platinums this year, mainly AAA games, except for a few old school PS1 games. Well, thank you for that. I'm having a good day so far. And you got 31 platinums this year. That's impressive, dude. See, I would like to have a year where I get some crazy number like that. But as you guys can tell, you're saying you mostly platinum AAA games. I'm not going to inflate my number of platinums by playing anything other than games I really want to play or games that feel like quality. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to just come in here and be like, I platinumed Jumping Pancake or some shit. And Hellbound, there he is. Hellbound comes in. He knew. He's like, boss needs 5 more gifts for his treats. Look at the way boss is looking at me. He's like, is it time? It is. Hellbound. Thank you so much for that, buddy. That takes us to 25. The first goal is crushed. Boss will get his treats now. He's been waiting. And let me see. So where is... So now if we hit 50, in case you cannot tell by the image below, we will do reps. Hellbound, thank you so much for that, my friend.
Boss, do you read me? It's time to feed the beast.
Here we go. All right, here. Okay, relax. Oh my God, relax, boy. Bro, that's really how you're going to eat the treats? All right, I was going to say, he's just going to stand up the whole time. Thank you, Hellbound. I'm so glad you came in and dropped that 5 because boss is really becoming a nuisance. Hellbound loves boss. He does. Oh, you're saying no, MBG. They shut down Resident Evil Resistance. Oh, so you're saying that's a rare platinum. Oh, I didn't know that. I mean, I guess it makes sense. It's not surprising. It's not surprising to hear that they shut down the servers, but yeah, man, I had to put that on the list because in terms of, again, just platinums that are just sheer fun, just easy to get as well. And when I say like it definitely required effort, but I just mean it makes it feel easy when you're just playing in a multiplayer environment, a co-op environment, or just having fun playing with your friends. That can definitely change the overall feeling towards getting certain trophies and platinums. I need to get a cat-proof streaming computer. I've never played Sleeping Dogs. I've heard really good things about it though. Yeah. Aren't they making a movie for Sleeping Dogs? Oh, you're saying they shut it down this year in June. Oh, so that stayed okay, so this server stayed on longer than I expected. I thought it shut down like when you said that, it was like a year or two ago or something. Like it's been shut down for a few years now. Yeah, it was a fun experience. But I will move on to my number 3 now. Boss, you're already done those treats, dude. Please don't pounce on my head. So, again, we're going down the list of my top 5 funnest platinums. Number 3 has to go to Stray. Yep, had to put Stray on this list. Stray is a phenomenal game, and it was a game that I didn't think I was ever going to play, but at some point, I just remember I think it was last year. I think yeah, it was in 2024. I was looking for something new to play, and you guys were recommending Stray to me, and I was like, okay, yeah, I mean, obviously because of a lot of cats, you guys are like, oh, you like the cat game, but I was really surprised, man. Like Stray is again a phenomenal game that really kind of blew me away. Where I just wasn't expecting to enjoy it that much. Was not expecting to enjoy it nearly as much as I did. Nor did I think it was a game I was gonna try to platinum. Nor did I expect to have as much fun platinuming it as I did. And Stray is easily just one of those games where, in terms of the overall start to finish platinum experience, it's the complete package. Has the story, has the gameplay mechanics, and none of the trophies. As far as there was like I think one trophy that was particularly difficult where you had to run through the a section of the game with these things chasing you, and you had to like not get hit by any of them or something like that. That was like really the only one that I remember being super difficult, but it's a really fun game, man. Um, I love Stray. I love Stray so much. So I gotta say, thank you guys for recommending that one to me. I don't know if I would have played it without the recommendation. Ow, Leia. Okay. Speaking of Stray, cats everywhere. There are cats everywhere. What is happening? The cats have taken over the stream. All right, I think it's time for Leia to get some treats. Boss, can you please not be like super greedy? Luna's over here too. You guys can't see her. This is a little intense, not gonna lie. Changed my setup again, as you can obviously tell, but they knew I was talking about Stray, dude. You know what's funny is when I was playing Stray, Luna, she was like a kitten at the time. Was it Luna? I think it was Luna. Yeah, she was getting all confused looking at the screen. She was like staring at the cat, trying to get him, and Leia was paying attention to the cat on screen as well. New cat. Actually, this is not a new cat tower, Schmidt. Believe it or not, I've had this cat tower for a while. But yeah, I was in the living room and I decided to take the one that was in here, put that in the living room, put this one in here. Luna, you want some? We'll move on to my last two here. Just trying to. All right, I guess Luna. I don't know where she's at. I don't know where she got off to. Make it more PlayStation, bro. What do you mean? Make what more PlayStation? They have so much space now while you're streaming. I know. Yeah, I'm not sure if that's a good thing though. No, it's fine. Um, you love cats. You love dogs too. You've always been more of a cat person, though. You love how independent the cats are, low maintenance. Yeah, that's true. Oh, you're saying my set. I got to make my setup more PlayStation. I don't think I could make it more PlayStation, dude. I got to be honest. I don't think I can make it more PlayStation, even if I tried. It's pretty fanboyed out here, you know. Boss is desperately searching for any treats he may have missed. You know what I think I need? Another PlayStation poster. That's what I need. I need a poster of a PS5 Slim and a PS5 Pro because all I got are the old PlayStations and the monstrous original PlayStation. My God, dude, it's so funny looking at that picture though on the wall, remembering like what the original PS5 looked like. That thing was, I mean, still going strong. A lot of people are still playing on that, but absolute monster. Come on, come on. Sorry, guys. We're gonna continue here. I need Astrobot and a platinum trophy. All right, let's move on to my number 2 and my number 1. And they actually are PlayStation games. And I swear I did not purposely make it this way. I'm just being honest. My number 2 for most fun platinum trophies I've earned this generation goes to Helldivers 2. Yeah, I did get the platinum for Helldivers 2 last year. And that was a really, really fun experience. Me, Mrs. MBG, a couple of our friends, we were playing this game. And I even played with some of the community. And it was a really, really fun time. I put about 110 hours into Helldivers 2. And I mean, I don't think there's really much I have to say about Helldivers 2. You guys were here for that whole journey. Some of you guys still today might even be playing it now. I did fall off of it. I don't really go back and play it very often, but as I was looking over my list, again, I'm trying to like look at all these games and think which games did I have the most fun with. Helldivers 2 definitely belongs in the number 2 spot here, and it would have taken the number 1 spot if it wasn't for the next game I'm going to tell you guys about. But Helldivers 2 is a phenomenal multiplayer experience. Obviously, it's it's the game that people just didn't expect. They just didn't expect it to come in and do so well. And even I had relatively high expectations going into Helldivers 2. I knew it was going to probably be a good game, a fun game, something I play for a little bit, but I wasn't expecting it to be that fun. So, shout out to Helldivers 2, easily one of the funnest platinums I've ever gotten. And you can obviously tell that it's funny because we talk about uh, multiplayer, but okay, all right. You can't go that way, boss. Do you need to get down? Come on. Come on. You got to get down. Get down. Don't hiss at me. All right, boss is having a situation right now. Wait, Irfan, what is this you're showing me? What was my favorite orbital? My favorite was probably the laser because it just came in clutch so much. Um, I liked the Eagle cluster bomb as well, but the problem with that is it was always just it's like guaranteed you're going to destroy your teammates or yourself using the Eagle cluster bomb. But the orbital laser probably my favorite. That saved me so many times, dude. Okay, boss, what is your problem? No, 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 don't go that way. Just go. Just go. Oh my god, dude. Come on, Luna. I'm gonna move on to my number 1 now. Boss is huge. He's massive. Yeah. All right. I'm just giving Luna her treats now. She's lurking too. I'm sorry. So much time dedicated to giving these cats treats, man. All right. We're going to move on to number 1, funnest platinum. Now, this is maybe going to be a little bit unfair because I'm technically talking about 2 games. Corey Why did you say Corey Barlog is destroyed? Oh, because of this picture? He looks all right. I think he looks fine. Corey Barlog's been spotted. So my number one funnest platinum. That goes to Astro's Playroom and Astrobot. Now, I know, again, I'm combining 2 games into one here. It's a little bit unfair, but I felt like they had to kind of be combined. And yeah, Astrobot was also difficult. There's no denying that getting the platinum for Astrobot was, doing the Grandmaster challenge. It was tough. Okay. And oh yeah, Mrs. MBG, by the way, is hugely responsible for getting the platinum in Astro's Playroom because she played that too. She played it on my account. We played it together, but she did a lot of it. And I would watch as she was playing it. And so, hello Luna. So, that's another reason why I had to combine both of these but that's also what made it so fun. I crashed out a little bit with the final. Yeah, it was tough. It was, dude, the DLC challenge. We did that in the members lounge for gameplay. Oh my God. Okay. No joke. It's no joke. But yeah, man, it was a really, really fun platinum. I mean, Astrobot, putting aside the challenge, the Grandmaster run, which was quite difficult, everything building up to that it's just a fun time. It's not asking too much of you. I mean, some of the challenge levels before the Grandmaster were kind of difficult and you had to keep replaying them, but going through the levels, collecting the bots, it's a really good experience. So I had to give it to Astrobot, man. It was such a fun game, and really curious to see what Team Asobi does next. You got your nephew to do it for the last DLC. That's so funny, man. That's so funny. They're no joke. They're no joke, though. Some of these levels, they're harder than like Dark Souls bosses. All right, let me see what other list. I think I have one more list here. And this one's just kind of a fun one. Yeah. This one's going to be funny. So I decided to compile one more top 5 list. Top 5 most random platinums that I have. These are truly random. So let me just double check everything before we move on here. So anybody who has, I would say probably more than like 20 to 30 platinums, you probably have a few on there that are kind of random. Maybe not. It depends. Everybody's different with how they choose to go for platinums. Now, to be clear, every game that's on here, like when I say random platinums, it's not going to be some kind of like random slop. I don't do that. I don't just buy games just to platinum them or whatever. And not that I'm saying there's anything wrong if you want to do that. I'm just saying that's not what I do. So yeah, these are pretty random. So starting with number 5, Concord. Got that? Don't hurt me, Luna. Starting with the Concord Platinum. You good? Ow. Starting at number 5, Concord Platinum. No, I'm just kidding. That's not on my list here. Why is this thing exploding out like that? MRPD says you actually got the Concord Platinum. I don't know. MRPD, did I? Did I actually get? Am I one of the rare few? Am I a freak? I'll let you determine. Luna, can you stop that? Mrs. MBG, if you're watching, you're gonna have to let Luna out. She's tearing up the door. She got her treat. She's like, let me the hell out of this prison. No, my number 5 on here in terms of random platinums that I have, for real now. Number 5 on this list is not. I don't know if this is going to surprise some people. I feel like it's going to surprise somebody. I have the platinum for Plants vs Zombies Battle for Neighborville. Okay. All right. Now listen, I love the Plants vs Zombies games. You know that. I love Plants vs Zombies Garden Warfare 1 and 2. I played those games on Xbox extensively. Battle for Neighborville, not as good, but I still forced myself to get the platinum. And so that's a really, really random one that is just sitting there. PS4 game. Am I going? So when it comes to getting the OG Plants vs Zombies platinum, I don't know, man. I was trying to do multiple things in that game that were becoming very, very, very challenging. That I'm like, okay, this is starting to make me hate this game. So I kind of just settled on I have 50% of the trophies and I put like 50 hours into it. I think I'm just gonna chill out right there and just leave it at that. Because every time I look at trophy lists and I determine if I'm going to try to go for the platinum, I always try to determine like just how difficult it's going to be. And sometimes I overestimate it, sometimes I definitely underestimate it. But in looking at the original Plants vs Zombies trophy list, I'm like, yeah, this is going to be an absolute nightmare. That's going to drive me to the brink of insanity, and I don't know that I want to do that. So I'm just leaving that as is. But yeah, I do have the Battle for Neighborville Platinum, and that's one that's just really randomly sitting there. And again, Battle for Neighborville, I was really hopeful for it because I thought it was going to be like Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare 3, but it wasn't. They changed it quite dramatically, and it just overall wasn't nearly as fun. But I still stuck with it, at least enough to get the platinum. And yeah, every now and again, like my son will play that game on my name. So I have like a ridiculous amount of hours racked up. I think there's like 200 hours on that game. I'm like, I definitely didn't play it for 200 hours, but then I forgot that like, yeah, my son plays it sometimes. So on my name, he has to play it on my name because I have all the stuff unlocked. It's pretty funny. So that's my number 5 most random. We're gonna move on to number 4 here. Number 4 is another random one, man. I actually completely forgot I got the platinum for this one. Overcooked All You Can Eat Edition. Boy, oh boy, let me tell you about Overcooked, man. That's a me and Mrs. MBG game. We played the crap out of Overcooked, and man, that game is so frustrating sometimes. I swear, Michael, I swear, I'll take a screenshot of it. I have the platinum for this game. Um, One of the things I remember getting the platinum, I do remember losing my mind because, but Mrs. MBG helped me with it. We got pretty good together. The only thing I remember doing is I had to, at one point, there was like one trophy where I had to like have, I had to basically play like both characters for some reason. I don't remember what that was for, but that was a really random one. I mean, we played the crap out of Overcooked. We got really good at it. And I remember I was like, how difficult would it be to platinum this? And it was definitely saying, prove it. I'll have to prove it. I'll have to show you guys a screenshot for real. Um, but yeah, that was one I was looking at. You're saying show 'em? Oh, let me see. Let me see if it'll let me PlayStation Network. Oh, am I already logged in? All right. Game library. Let me see here. Where is it? Oh, it's gonna be way down the list. Hold on. Uh, I just saw because they have like Spotify on here and shit. Do you guys remember with the Xbox One how they had like achievements for watching Netflix and watching YouTube and stuff like that? Does anybody remember this? That was the weirdest thing ever. Hold on. So there's like different versions of Overcooked here. Overcooked 1, Overcooked 2 for PS4. Pretty sure the edition I'm talking about is different though. Dead by Daylight. RE4. No, okay, hold on. I guess that would be it then. I gotta prove it now. No one believes me. Why doesn't anybody believe me? Hang tight, hang tight. I'm gonna. So I guess they do kind of separate it here, though, for at least on the web page here. They separate Overcooked 1 and 2. Why isn't it letting me see my shit? Oh, whatever. I'm gonna have to do it through PlayStation because this is not. This probably isn't what you're looking for. What the? Okay. Yeah, I'll get it. I'll have to get a screenshot for the next stream because I'm looking it over now, and I'm navigating their website, and I'm trying to click on some of this stuff, and it's not working. Or when I do click on it, it takes me to the PlayStation Store. Unless I'm in the wrong, or whatever. I swear. No, I'm gonna have to prove it to you guys. I swear. Community tab didn't happen. I'm telling you, bro. You know what? Maybe I can do it through my phone. Now, I feel like you guys are challenging me now. You're challenging me. Nobody believes that I got this platinum. I know it lets me check the trophies on the app. Here we go. All right, hold on. Go to my profile. Trophies. Here we go. Here we go. I'm gonna get you now. Where are you? Where are you, Overcooked? Oh, there's Final Fantasy 16. Oh yeah, I got the platinum for that one too. I know it's here. There it is. Overcooked All You Can Eat Edition. Here we go. Taking a screenshot. I'm telling you. I'm gonna show you all. I'm gonna show you I got it. Y'all think I'm lying. All right. Let me just send this on over. I'm gonna bring it up on screen. Overcooked is such a crazy game, though, man. Like, the thing about Overcooked is, man, if you're not on the same page, that's gonna be it could be a very unfun time. No joke. Wow, I can't believe how long ago I got this. Wow. I got this in 2021, man. Where does the time go for real? That's wild. It does not feel like I got this in 2021. But all right, let me see if it'll let me bring it up here. Hold on. Thank you for waiting patiently as I figure this out. Here it is. All right. Here we go. You ready? Boom. Look at that. I got it at why did I get the platinum so late? 8:56 p.m. July 6th, 2021. Boom. I told you. But calm down, Michael. Calm down. This was a crazy one though, man. But this is definitely one of the most random platinums that I have. Nate Tribby's like, oh man, I was hoping he was joking. But legendary chef. Yo, huge shout out to Mrs. MBG though, because she's hugely responsible for helping me get this platinum. And yeah, because we did it on my profile, or I don't know, it's just like there's still some trophies she needs to get on her profile. 8:56 p.m. You call that too late? Well, I'm just saying, like, I'm not sure what I was doing at that. Like, I can't imagine myself playing Overcooked All You Can Eat at 8:56 p.m. in the year 2025 going into 2026. So I'm not sure what was going on in my life at this time that I was playing this game. Like, it's not that that's a late time, just what I would normally be doing now at that time. I guess, yeah, I game that late still. I usually game past 9, but I don't know. I must have been in a weird mode. But there you go. Mrs. MBG had to carry me. Oh yeah, she's telling me from the other room. Our son was a baby at this time, and so we had to wait for him to go to sleep, and then that was our opportunity to play this together. That makes sense. Damn, though, I still can't believe how long ago this was. July 2021. Good times though, man. Good times. But there you go. What was that, number 4 on the list? I think had to prove it. You got your Night Rain Platinum Trophy at 3 a.m. Nice. Nice. That's a good one. We will continue down this list, though. We have 3 more games. Let me see. So, all right. Again, we're running down the list of top 5 random platinums that I have. Number 3, I don't know how random this feels to you guys, but it felt pretty random to me when I was looking over the list. I'm like, wait, I got the platinum for this? And it turns out I did. Outriders on PS5. Yeah, I swear, like, I don't even remember playing this game, but I had to really sit back and think. I'm like, oh yeah, I did play that. I don't remember platinuming it. It's super random. I can't remember a thing about this game, and I certainly can't remember platinuming it. So when I saw that I had the platinum, I'm like, that's really weird. But okay, I'll take it. So that is who made Outright. People Can Fly. I think they're the ones who made it, right? So yeah, that was a I don't know. I don't know what to say about this because I can't even remember playing it. But I got the platinum. There's a looter shooter, Schluter. Love that term. I guess they decided they were never making a sequel, or maybe it got canceled or something. But that's my number 3. How many trophies do I have right now? I have like 3,000 something. I'd have to look at the number. I have 53 platinums. That I know. But let me see here. So we'll move along this list here. We have 2 more. So number 3 is Outriders. I'm telling you, the last 2 are so effing random. You guys are not prepared. At least to me. I was like, wait, what? Number 2, I actually remember, though, because it was kind of fun. It was this game. I have a platinum for this game called Vampire the Masquerade Blood Hunt. I think it was actually announced that the servers for this game were shutting down this year. It's another multiplayer game that I got the platinum for. Does anybody know what this game is? Did anybody here play this video game? For those who don't remember, this was a game that was shown off at a 2021 State of Play. Sony got behind this game. You never heard of it, Will? Somebody here has to know what this game is. It's a game for baddies. So this was, I mean, I think there's like an established universe, the Vampire Masquerade or whatever, but they basically were like, we're going to make a battle royale. And you played as like a vampire. And one of the things that was kind of cool about it is you could climb buildings and like scale buildings like really quickly. And it was a very like vertical game, and you could move really quickly like up and down buildings and jump from building to building. And I got the platinum for it. I remember playing it. I kind of forgot I got the platinum for it. I don't remember how difficult it was, but I was looking over my list. I'm like, oh, that's random as shit. So that's another one. Dude, okay, listen. Michael's saying everyone guessed the last game. You will never. You will never. So I will give you a couple of hints for this last game. I'll give you a couple of hints of what because this is the final game of all the lists. I'll give you a couple of hints, and I'll give you a little bit of time to try to guess it, but it's not going to happen. Okay? So I have to be careful with the hints I give you because I'm not even worried about anybody guessing it because you've never heard of this game. You've never, so that's hint number one. You've never heard of this game. I promise you. If somebody here actually knows the game, I would be stunned. I'd be stun locked. The second hint I'll give is it's an indie game. And I told you I don't buy slop games. This is not a slop game. But when I say it's an indie game, it's one of these indie games that is forever lost somewhere in the PlayStation Store. It did come out this generation. It's a cheap game. It's like, I think I paid 10 or 15 bucks for it, maybe 20 at most. And this last hint I'm going to give you is the best one I can give you. I told you guys, and look, I may be giving it away by saying this, but if I don't, nobody's going to get it. When I talk about games I'm nostalgic for and games that I played growing up during the N64 days and the PlayStation 1 days, I talk about the Army Men games, the classic Army Men games. So I'll give you guys like a minute or two here to see if somebody can guess it. But those are all the hints I can give you. It's not Toy Story, not Knack 3, not Chia, not Bumblebee. I won't lie to you. When I was looking, no, it's not Bluey. That is a random platinum I have though. But I feel like that one's not like random though. Like that one doesn't feel surprising to me when I look at it. I'm like, oh, I got that one, playing it with my son. This one was genuinely random where I was like, what game? Even I forgot what this game was. And I forgot that I bought it. And I forgot that I freaking got the platinum for it. Hogs of War. No, not Medal of Honor. I'm telling you, nobody knows this game exists on the PlayStation Store. I literally bought it, played it, platinumed it, and even I forgot it existed. Slime Rancher, not Slime Rancher. I'm going to see if I can find a picture of this game, though. So this game came out. So the initial release date for this game, December 8th, 2015, but I guess they eventually ported it to PS5. I don't know when it came to PS5. I guess it was a couple years ago. I wonder if anybody still plays this. All right, so I'm going to get a picture prepared. Army Men 2, Code of Honor. No, you guys are still guessing. Order 1886. I did the platinum for Order 1886, actually. All right, so here it is. I'm going to reveal the game. The game that the most random platinum that I have is from a game called The Mean Greens Plastic Warfare, bro. This is a game that exists on the PlayStation Store. And I remember one day, a couple years back, I was scrolling through the store and I saw this and I'm like, yo, this reminds me of the classic Army Men games. I bought it and then I ended up getting the platinum for it. It's like a multiplayer game, dude. And I think I had to I remember I had to like grind a bunch of game modes solo to just to get the platinum because like nobody was playing it. Not even in a million years would I have known it. I know. I knew nobody was going to know this game. But I do have the platinum for this game. And I have to say, when I was looking over my list, 53 platinums in total, this was the game that caught me the most off guard, where I was like, what? I'd completely forgotten about it. All the other games in the list up to this point, I was like, oh, yeah, I remember that. Oh, yeah, I remember this. This was the one where like, bro, when did I play this? And when did I guess Outriders kind of felt like that too, but this is such an obscure game. Outriders isn't really obscure. I think if most people know what Outriders is, but this is truly like the most obscure, random platinum I think I have. So there you go. Is there not a new Army Men / action figure shooter? I think this is the one, dude. Like in terms of trying to actually replicate the Army Men games that came out way back when, I think this is the closest one. If there's another one, I'm not aware of it. But there you go, guys. Those are my lists. Those are all my lists. That's all I got for you. Top platinums of this year. Couple top 5 lists for you now that I hit 50. Yeah, I saw that, Tarnished. Interesting turn of events. Why would you even buy such a random game? It was the nostalgia. It's because when I saw it, I'm like, dude, this. I was actually looking into it. I'm like, is this a new Army Men game? It wasn't, but the people who made it were inspired by the classic Army Men games. I'm like, all right, man, yeah, I can get behind this, and it was kind of fun. But it was super basic. It was definitely an indie team that made it, and I don't know if they've went on to make anything else, but you have over 6,000 trophies, but only have 6 platinums. Well, yeah, I mean, I feel like having a lot of trophies but no platinums, it pretty much says you play a lot of games. And I wish I could play games like that. I wish I could stop caring about getting platinums. But I still enjoy, like, obviously I enjoy it. I don't want to make it sound like I hate it that much, but how do you find yours? Like, how many platinums you have? You just have to go to your trophy section if you're on PlayStation, and it'll like break down all your trophies. Do Mrs. MBG's next. Mrs. MBG's on her way to earning her first platinum. And we're gonna celebrate it when she does. So we're 250 hours, I think, into this game, trying to get the platinum for it. You're okay. So if you're on the PS5 now, you go up to your profile and you click your profile image, and there should be a trophy section. You can scroll down to hit trophies, and then it'll break everything down. Don't be shy, MBG. We all have our unique little unknown games that we enjoy so much since our childhood. Yeah, well, I mean, I was kind of happy to find that because I was like, oh, I do have some weirdo games in here. Not weirdo games, but just like, it's not all just pure AAA, you know, the only thing you would expect. Mrs. MBG says she has 438 trophies. Did I platinum Hellblade 2? I did not. No, I actually played that I played that on the Xbox app through PC, and I did not get all the achievements for it. I just played through it one time. I didn't really enjoy it, to be honest. I didn't have a very good time with Hellblade 2, but I appreciated it for what it was, I suppose. All right, where are we time wise? Let me see. All right, so I guess I could just hang out with the chat for a little while. I finished going through all my lists here. I'm just gonna chill with the chat. Is there anything you guys would like to discuss? Anything in particular? I know there were some gaming news topics that came out that some people were interested in, but Hypercharge Unboxed. Oh yeah, I heard of that too. Talk about Heretic and Expedition 33. Oh man, there's cat hair everywhere. We were talking a little bit about the Heretic Prophet earlier. I don't know if I want to talk AI, man. AI. I'm tired of hearing about AI. AI this, AI that, everything's AI. It's taking over. It's too much. Jake, I may have missed that one, buddy. What was it about? Played any Skate Story yet? It looks trippy. I haven't played that yet. No, I do think it looks interesting though. It's not at the top of my list, but that's one of those games where I feel like I could enjoy it if I played it. Skate Story. I've heard good things so far. It's gotten pretty good reviews. Um, Hellblade 2 is more like a, a tech demo how PS6 games look like. It was a really good looking game. Hellblade 2 felt like a step back for me. I wanted to like it more than I did, but I couldn't help the fact that like it just I don't know, it felt like it was trying too hard to be something else in a way, or if not be something else, it was missing certain things that the first game had that yeah, it seems like the technology and, the way the presentation kind of mattered more to the team than gameplay, and I'm like, okay, I guess. I mean, like I did appreciate the story though. It was a good story. Apparently, they're still going to make a third one. So I'm like, I hope that they take the feedback from the sequel and do something with it because I would like to continue to play, or I would like to see the Hellblade story continue, but there definitely has to be some major improvements to the gameplay overall, I think, if they're going to do a third one. Like it really, it can't just feel like mostly like a tech demo. Um, and it's just weird because I feel like Hellblade 1 is like a better game overall than 2. And I feel like that's such a strange, it's not what I would have expected. Jake, you're going to resend it. Did you talk about Claire Obscure being disqualified from the Indie Game Awards? I did not. To be honest, I haven't really looked into this. I've seen it floating around. Let me see if I can find it. I'm looking now. Let's see, Claire Obscure AI. So it says here, Insider Gaming reports the Indie Game Awards took place on December 18th, and as many could assume, Claire Obscure Expedition 33 took home the awards for Game of the Year and Debut Game. However, things have changed, and the Indie Game Awards are making a big decision to strip the Claire Obscure and developer Sandfall Interactive of their awards over the use of generative AI in the game. In an announcement made on Saturday afternoon, 6-1 Indie, the creators of the show, said that its removal comes after the discovery after voting was done and the show was recorded. Quote, the Indie Game Awards have a hard stance on the use of Gen AI throughout the nomination process and during the ceremony itself. When it was submitted for consideration, representatives of Sandfall Interactive agreed that no Gen AI was used in the development of Claire Obscure Expedition 33. In light of Sandfall Interactive confirming the use of Gen AI on the day of the Indie Game Awards 2025 premiere, this does disqualify Claire Obscure Expedition 33 from its nomination. 6-1 Indie ended by thanking the community for being patient and providing feedback on the situation. The organizational team behind the ceremony is a small crew with big ambitions, and the Indie Game Awards can only grow with your help and support, they said. We already can't wait for the 2026 ceremony. Now I have to find where they. So I'm just trying to find where did they confirm it though? Like it said that it was removed after it was confirmed that they used it. Did they? When did they explicitly confirm it, or like where did they reveal that? Because that seems weird to me that they would say no, there was no Gen AI, and then suddenly like actually no, there was. So I'm not. I think this is becoming the new thing in the gaming industry. You know, like did you use generative AI or not? And I think in the future we're either gonna have to. I think in the future there's gonna have to be two different categories overall. One that's completely man-made, and the other where Gen AI was used. Jake, thank you for that, buddy. Uh, okay, Claire Obscure Expedition 33 producer confirms generative AI. Let me see. It used AI tools in some capacity. A past interview with the game's producer provides more insight into how the technology benefited Sandfall. Evidence that Sandfall Interactive's Claire Obscure Expedition 33 employed generative AI already existed. Still, the studio hadn't offered clarification on how much it relied on the tools following the game's dominance at the Game Awards. Some fans are discovering an overlooked interview for the first time. The producer, uh, they told magazine uh, some AI, but not that much. Okay, so hold on. It says Gene Park posts Expedition 33 team freely admitted using AI and just won the most awards ever in the Game Awards history. Quote, we use some AI, but not much. The key is that we were very clear about what we wanted to do and what to invest in. And of course, technology has allowed us to do things that were unthinkable a short time ago. Unreal Engine 5's tools and assets have been very important in improving graphics, gameplay, and cinematics. It says here also too, Larian CEO confirms the studio is, so now we're talking about Larian. They confirmed that they're using generative AI to explore ideas, flesh out PowerPoint presentations, develop concept art, and write placeholder texts. He says there won't be any AI generated content in Divinity. Everything is human actors. We're writing everything. Yeah, I mean, I guess this was not always going to happen, right? This was always going to happen. Now that AI is becoming much more widespread, and it's it's something that everybody is seemingly going to use, or not, I want to say everybody, but most studios. The next Silent Hill could leave Maine behind for good. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I mean, I think it's safe to say that most studios are going to use AI tools to some capacity. Kojima said I think he said he won't use AI. I think Bruce Straley, his team Wildflower, said they won't use it. I think we're just at this point where there does need to be an acceptance, but there has to be, I think, a line drawn. You know what I mean? Where like there needs to be an overall acceptance that AI tools are here to stay and will, no matter what we think about them, they will be used by hundreds, thousands of studios to some capacity. Uh, when I say that we have to accept that, that's just the way it is now and the way it's going to be, and it's only going to grow going forward. However, I think the industry as a whole, when it comes to like these award shows and how we take things into consideration and the review process and all these different things, I think they have to be reevaluated, and we have to determine like where we draw the line here in terms of, do we create a separation where like here are the awards where everything is used, versus the awards where it's just purely man. It reminds me of like bodybuilding in a sense. You know how there's like the natural shows and then the shows where anything goes, and like you can take, as people are on the craziest amounts of steroids, um and all the money and all the attention goes to people who are not natural, and the shows that are, like they're definitely people who tune in and compete in the natural bodybuilding shows, but they're just not nearly as interesting to the masses as the people who are like, again, roided out of their minds, pushing their bodies to the limit. um I feel like this is kind of what we're looking at to a degree, where you can try to separate these things, but it's going to be really difficult because I don't know. It's like I guess the question is, now that people discovered this interview and it was confirmed that they used generative AI to some extent. It seems they seem to say that they used it to a small extent. The question is like, okay, so how do you feel about the game now? Like, does this mean the game was less deserving of the awards it won at the Game Awards? Does this mean that you enjoyed it less as a player of the game? Did you lose respect for the studio? These are questions that people are going to ask themselves. And I just feel like, I don't know. I don't want to, like, I try not to take a pessimistic view of this, but I kind of just feel like, well, if you're against AI usage in video games, I think you're going to have a rough time in the coming years. I think it's going to be really, really rough, where it's like, I'm not saying you have to embrace it to the extent that you should enjoy it and say, I want more AI in my games. I'm not saying that, but I just think that it's going to become one of these things where good luck trying to find a game that to some extent didn't, AI tools were not involved at all. Good luck trying to find that. I think that's where we're headed. And I think that's why what's probably going to happen, if I'm trying to take my best guess here, I think what's going to happen is there isn't going to be a separation. I don't think you're going to see Jeff Keighley come out and say, okay, we're going to have two different categories of awards now, one for, with AI usage, one without. I think you will see certain developers and studios say this was made using no AI, and they'll try to use that as a selling point. But in terms of the wider industry, I think it's just going to be accepted that AI is going to be part of it. I think we're already kind of there. Like we're in that process right now. Because I'll be honest with you, man, like my thoughts and feelings on Claire Obscure don't change even a little bit. Knowing that they, this, like I just read the quote from the interview. I'm like, okay, like that's fine. Like I still think the game was awesome. Like I'm not, you know what I mean? I'm not, if they came out and they said like, it turns out 90% of our game was made with AI, I would feel a little bit different. I'd be like, oh, like it would change my view of the game in that like, so everything I experienced was like mostly not man made, and it just will live in my head in that sense. But PlayStation Pete, you're saying platinumed 100% Yote. My soon to be ex called Walmart, told the manager to tell the girl I was talking to, he will break your heart. Oh, geez. PlayStation Pete, I'm sorry, bro. I'm not mean to laugh. It just sounds like it's rough, bro. That's rough. I hope whatever troubles you're experiencing in life start to iron out and smooth out soon, bro. But congratulations on the Ghost of Yote Platinum, man. That's a good one, bro. You've been grinding out those platinums too, PlayStation Pete. So congrats. AI is fine as long as it's good. There are songs written by AI that are actual bangers, dude. You don't need to tell me, Sound Spartan. some of those bangers, bro. No, there's a couple songs that I've come across. One of the things that it's like a guilty pleasure of mine, I don't partake in too often, but is finding these AI songs, versions of songs. Like, for example, there's this version that somebody made of Red Hot Chili Peppers Under the Bridge, but a blues version. And it's so good. It's like, it's scary. I'm like, I was listening to some Slipknot that was converted to like soul. And I'm like, this is insane how amazing this, like it's shockingly good. And yeah, there are original, I guess, like AI created songs that sometimes I come across random stuff when I'm looking through music and I'm like, I'm pretty sure that's AI, but this is why, but it sounds good. Like it sounds pretty damn convincing. So I think AI is just one of these things where it's like it's not going anywhere. And I think it's something that's improving at such an exponential rate and it's becoming so integrated into our society that we don't really know. We're going to have to figure it out real quick. We are in the process of like, we have to figure out where to set the boundaries. Like what kind of rules and guidelines are we going to make here? How far does it need to go? And I think the gaming industry is, it's obviously part of that. And, I can definitely have respect for a studio that says we're not using AI at all. Like I can respect that because it's like, oh, so you want to do it the classic way. Respect, cool. I like that. Just like if somebody says like, I'm not going to make an AI song, I want to learn an instrument and then learn how to write a song. There's just no denying that like that will earn naturally from a human perspective more respect from me. But if somebody says like, here's this really sick song I made with AI, if it sounds cool, it's like, nice. I can appreciate that for what it is. Just like in game dev, if it's like, yeah, here's a game where like 10% of it was made with AI or 15% of it was made with AI, it's like, okay, yeah, that's fine. I think where things are going to start to get kind of spooky is when we start to cross that threshold, which I don't think we're there yet, where it's like, okay, now we're getting games that are just 100% AI or 95% AI. That I think is going to create a lot of consternation. And it's going to make people, I think, kind of frankly lose their minds a bit, and that's where once we cross that threshold, that's when you're going to start seeing labels being necessary, where people are going to want to know. not if the game was made with AI. People are going to want to know how much of it. And I think what we're seeing with Clair Obscur is kind of like the early indication of that, because right now, what matters to most people, what matters to most people is not this interview where they confirm that they used a little bit of generative AI. What matters is people want to know, so like, how much are we talking here? Are we talking very little, just a little bit? Or are we talking like more than 50% of the game? And based off of what we're hearing, it's just a little bit. And it's like, okay, I think most people are going to be totally fine with that. If we find out that Clair Obscur, the bulk of it was AI, I mean, that's going to cause a complete rethink of everything in the industry. I mean, it would be kind of awesome in a sense. Like, I would love to see how the industry would handle. It's like the cat's out of the bag. Just a hypothetical. Like, the devs come out and they're like, yeah, we basically used AI for like 50 to 60% of the development. I really, really wonder what that would do. Like how would Jeff Keighley handle that? And like, so I guess, a game that was made hypothetically 50, half of it was made by AI, it sweeps the game awards. What do we do there? Like that, like, I feel like once again, there's a threshold we have yet to cross. We're getting there. We're seeing the beginnings of it. But the one thing I do feel very certain in saying is that AI is here to stay. It's not going anywhere. I don't think it's as bad as people make it sound. I think AI is just like anything else. It is a tool. I think it can be used for good and bad. And the worst thing I think we see with AI right now is the slop, right? Like, we see these server farms being built, these data centers, and it is kind of depressing to think that half the AI slop you see on your feed, uh, it's so it can house crap like that. And it's like, okay, like, I think the world would be fine without that stuff, but that's the nature of something like AI. And, it is the kind of genie in the bottle. It is the Pandora's box, so to speak, where like once it's open, that's it. There's no going back from here. It's funny because, Kojima, I think he said he's not interested in using AI, but even he acknowledged that. He said that, yeah, this it's happening. Like, there's not, we can't go back. And PlayStation Pete, you're saying 100% Yote as well. Is a Switch 2 in trouble in sales? Oh, so you're saying when you 100% Yote, you did like the New Game Plus as well. Is the Switch 2 in trouble? So that's another thing actually we can talk about. Another topic that, again, I know I didn't like come to the stream today with topics to discuss because I just wanted to focus on talking about platinums, but yeah, there's something going on here, guys. I don't know how worried we need to be, but I need to go over this info with you. So, let's see. So, if I look over here, yeah, there's this write up. Push Square. It says PS5 wins a nightmarish November for all console hardware in the US. Sony bought Peanuts for $458 million. Talk about that. My understanding with that, what little research I did, the reason why they spent so much money on that and it was so expensive is because apparently the peanuts are massive in Japan. I would have never guessed. I had no idea. I'm like, what? Like, why did they buy this? Apparently in their home country, it's very, very popular. Very popular. So they say here PS5 may have won the big Black Friday battle in the US this November, but the hardware market is in a bit of a mess. The latest Circana industry report reveals that hardware spending dropped 27% year over year, with just 1.6 million consoles being sold in total. That number combines all devices from all manufacturers and represents the worst November on record since the Super Nintendo and PS1 were duking it out in 1995. No manufacturers were safe this year. The PS5 dropped 40% year over year. The brand new Switch 2 and Switch 1 combined sold 10% fewer units than the Switch 1 in 2024, and Xbox stacked another 70% decline, registering an all-time November low for the brand, which was ultimately outsold by the standalone motion gaming machine, the Next Playground or the NEX Playground. These are devastating numbers for all manufacturers, and while Sony could point to the release of the PS5 Pro last November as the reason for its percentage decline being potentially more pronounced, it'll come as cool comfort. It'll come as cool comfort for the console. Why do they write this way? Prices appear to be the biggest issue affecting all platform holders, with the average selling price of a new console this November being 439 US dollars, an all-time high and up 11% compared to a year ago. So what's interesting about this is yeah, so this is the US. My understanding, at least for PlayStation, is sales are looking pretty good in Europe, and I think they're doing well over there. But yeah, the struggle is beginning to become real for these console manufacturers in the US. I mean, it said Sony did do some deals throughout Black Friday, but after so many, price increases over the years, its discounts temporarily returned the PS5 to its launch price 5 years after launch. So, it says a variety of factors have contributed to this. Rising component costs, tariffs, and the difficult post-pandemic economy are probably to blame. Realistically, at a time when people are struggling to afford groceries, potentially there's not a particularly large audience for consoles, which are more expensive than they've ever been. Exactly how the industry is going to navigate this challenging environment remains to be seen. We'll need to wait and see how December stacks up before we panic too much. And then obviously they have the RAM shortages. I came across something else that didn't look too good where it says, let me see if I can find it. Was it removed? I thought I saw something where it said like OpenAI purchased 40% of the world's DRAM up until 2029 or something absolutely absurd like that. So yeah, we're reaching a point where GTA 6 is going to need to save us all. No, I don't know that I mean it'll help, but I don't know how Sony in particular is going to navigate this. I mean, when it comes to the Switch 2, like are Switch 2 sales in trouble? I don't think so. I think they'll be fine. I'm more interested in how Sony's going to navigate this because they did win the Black Friday. They did win November basically, but it doesn't look that great when you realize that, everything is down. The US has been the most important market for Sony and all of these manufacturers. Xbox isn't even in the picture anymore with these numbers. I don't know, man. This is why you see people they're coming out and they're like, I think Sony needs to wait with the PlayStation 6. I think Sony needs to maybe wait till like 2029, 2030, like wait until it feels like things are really but the thing is we have no idea what things are going to be like then either. The real question for Sony here is if they will be able to prevent I guess you could say like a significant decline because if the if all these consoles are struggling across the board and there are valid reasons for this. It's not because people don't want to buy consoles. It's not because nobody cares about console. It's not like console gaming is dying. And even if you were to interpret that way, it wouldn't be a natural death. There's valid reasons for this. You have to ask yourself when you look at Sony's entire business model in the console space, what does Sony do if they just start to go down? Like console sales start to go down? And I'm not talking about like this month or next month. I'm talking about over the next like year or two. Like this is the beginning of we're seeing like the struggle's about to become real. People just can't afford it, or people are becoming much more conservative and much more frugal and all this stuff. How is Sony going to navigate that? People have some ideas. You talk about going day and date on PC, going multi-platform. No longer prioritizing the console. But the reason why that's problematic no matter what for Sony is because there's nothing, as far as I'm aware, like none of those pivots are just going to change the course for Sony, if that makes sense. So, in other words, what I'm trying to say is like Sony kind of needs to figure it out. They really do. Where it's like you rely on people being in your ecosystem through the vector of console sales and hardware sales. And if you're not in a position where you are prepared to just take that ecosystem and throw it everywhere, which I do not think Sony is. To be clear, I do not think they are in that position. That's not something that could happen overnight. That's something that would have to happen slowly over the course of many years. Although this could be the trigger, the catalyst, so to speak, to facilitate that, the beginning of that. I don't think Sony's in that position. I think they're gonna. I don't know. I don't know. They're in a tough spot. They're doing well now, and things are still looking good for now. But these are the beginning signs of, I think, what all the console manufacturers kind of feared, which is, all right, what if we get to a point where like we just hit a wall? And I think it does look pretty bad when we're 5 years into the generation and a Black Friday sale is we're selling it at the base price point that it launched at again. You know, you can't blame people for being like, I'm good. But I don't know. That's to be honest, that's kind of Sony's problem. That's Nintendo's problem. That's Microsoft's problem. I mean, these companies. I'm not. I'm not that opposed to the idea of Sony struggling a bit. I don't want to see the PlayStation brand reach an unhealthy spot. Uh, that can, I don't want to see things happen like they did at the beginning of the PlayStation 3 era for Sony, where it's like their backs against the wall, it's sink or swim, do or die. They're in a lot of trouble. I don't want to see that. But I do want to see Sony that's under a bit more pressure. Sony that's forced to like, you got to figure this out, because I do think that's when we get the best version of PlayStation. It turns out that I don't think Sony has to worry about competition. We were all so worried about, what's PlayStation going to be like when they don't have competition, or if they don't view Nintendo as competition and Microsoft doesn't care about selling consoles anymore. It's like, dude, Sony has a bigger problem, which is you need to. How are people going to buy your stuff? How are people going to afford to buy your stuff? Like, how are you going to sell your products? Competition or not. So they're going against, I would say just the economy at this point, just economics in general. There's just the things are working against Sony and they're working against Nintendo and they're working against Microsoft and everybody involved in this industry right now. Frankly, things are working against everybody, broadly speaking. But when we're just analyzing the game side of it and the games industry, I do not know what the answer is for Sony. However, what I do know is they are making a PlayStation 6 handheld, and we're hearing from Moore's Law is dead that behind the scenes, Sony is very serious about getting developers to support this handheld and make their games playable on it. By the way, I see you're asking when's the Christmas stream. We will be doing our annual Christmas Eve stream probably that night for a couple hours. We usually do that. We'll hang out. But yeah, I think that I think Sony's going to have to be very careful how they navigate this, because they are under this pressure of, again, the peak of success that PlayStation has achieved when they brag about like the PS5 being the most profitable generation, PS5 sales still being on pace with PS4 and having the most engaged users ever. This just overall, it's like the PlayStation 5 generation represents the peak of Sony's success in gaming so far in the console space. And it might just be that. It might be their peak, because I don't know how they grow it beyond here. They really have, the odds are stacked against them. It's not to say that they can't do it. It's not to say it's impossible. It's not impossible, but in terms of like what they would need to do, how they would need to change things, how they would need to navigate, I'm not quite sure what it is they can do that they aren't already trying. With that being said, I see many people saying the PS6 is coming too soon. Do you agree? I know I think the PS5 can last another 3 to 4 easy, maybe more, or another 3 to 4 years. I know what you meant, Michael. Well, here, so if Sony were to make the decision, like we're gonna delay the PlayStation 6, maybe even by a couple years, and we're delaying it because it's like, well, they would have to delay it in good faith that what we're witnessing now is temporary. So what I mean by that is if people are not ready to buy the PlayStation 6 in 2027, they definitely will be by 2030. And there's no what people don't I think understand is that there's no guarantee of that whatsoever. Like what I mean by this is there's no guarantee that the thing that would stop people, most people from buying a PlayStation 6 won't still stop them 3 to 4 years later. And that being, if you're not impressed by the graphical leap, if you think it's too expensive, these things are not just going to change in a couple years. Like, and the main reason I say that is because the components are locked in, dude. Like what the PS6 is and will be is locked in. Sony can't just cancel their contracts and change their roadmap, not without there being like potentially serious consequences. A cheaper console, 10-year console cycles are a drag. They've tried to grow with PC, and I don't think it was as successful as they liked. I mean, yeah, 10-year console cycle. Yeah, well, this is what I mean, where it's like, can graphics get better? Yes. Are they going to get better? Yes. Can performance increase? Yes. Is it going to increase? Yes. Um, the real question, and I do think this is the fundamental question that Sony is going to, at some point, like there's going to be a PlayStation 6, whether it's 2027 or later. I mean, I still think it's going to be 2027. The fundamental question is, okay, how is it going to be next gen though? Because I see plenty of people where they're like, I'm buying the PlayStation 6 no matter what. I mean, I'll be there. I'm upgrading no matter what. Like you guys know that. I'm excited for the next gen that Sony brings on, even if it's a little bit underwhelming compared to like it's not a PS2 to PS3 or PS1 to PS2 leap. I'm still going to be there. But the problem I think is that Sony it's the momentum of it, right? Where it's like for every so like for the PS4 and the PS5, I feel like for every 5 people that were excited to upgrade, there were maybe 2 that weren't. I don't know. I feel mixing up my words here that what's going to change with the PS6 is it's for every like 5 people that want to upgrade, there's going to be 5 that don't want to or won't. And I think that's the real problem that Sony's potentially looking at, where the like I said, I don't know how Sony can't hide that from investors. Sony can't hide the fact that, and they can't lie either. Like they could try to market the PS6 to the moon and back, and I'm sure they will, but they're not going to be able to like hide the fact that games are going to be cross-gen. They're not going to be able to hide the fact that while this PS6 game looks really damn good, the PS5 and PS5 Pro version also look really damn good. They're not going to be able to hide any of this. And they also are in this awkward position where they can't really, if they choose to embrace it, chances are it's going to be them, I guess you could say, kind of capitulating, where it's like, it's them saying, we understand the PS6 is not going to have the same momentum as the PS4 and PS5 did because it's not possible. Because I'll tell you what, man, if you were to tell me, MBG, I believe that come holiday 2027, when Sony puts the PS6 out, or they market it and we're building up to the launch, it's going to be just as successful as the PS4 and the PS5. It's going to have the same exact momentum, if not even better momentum than the PS4 and PS5. I would need that person to explain to me how, where did that conclusion come from? Because nothing I'm seeing indicates that. Not to say it will be a failure, to be clear. We're not talking about failure. We're just talking about high levels of success that become harder and harder to match for different reasons each generation. And, to be honest, it's like, well, should we be so concerned about whether or not Sony can find that same level of success? Frankly, no, probably not. Like, if you're excited at the idea of a PS6 coming in 2027, I don't really think you should let the idea of not as many people being as excited for it sway you in any direction. But if we're talking about just observing and analyzing the health of the industry, the health of the console market, and trying to understand where these things stand now and where they're potentially headed, I think that there really is a reality. Really is a reality. There is an actual reality that we're looking at right now where if Sony does decide to go through with releasing the PlayStation 6 in 2027, they have to have maybe a different philosophy going into it, a different mid to long term plan where it's okay if it takes us a lot longer to match the PS4 and PS5. It's okay if more people within the first 3 to 4 years of the PS6 life cycle don't want to upgrade, but they upgrade in the last 4 to 6 years. I don't know how Sony's gonna. I don't know how Sony will navigate that because we know that they're very, you know, their current CEO Hiroki Totoki. He's very much. He said himself he's obsessed with growth. Um, it's going to be an interesting ride, man. And looking, getting back to the original topic at hand here, looking at the PS5 sales and console sales in the US kind of hitting a bit of a wall, even during holiday season and Black Friday. I mean, yeah, we're in a really strange period of time, economically speaking, and I'm not trying to be so dire about it. I think that everywhere you look, I'll be honest, it does get exhausting. Everywhere you look, everybody's trying to tell you how everything around you is collapsing, and I'm just tired of that a little bit because it's like, okay, I'm not saying you're completely wrong, but it's like, can we just talk about how we're going to get through it, rather than why it's collapsing and how there's nothing you can do about it. I just, there's a lot of fear mongering. There's a lot of truth in between though. And yeah, I don't think now is the appropriate time to worry about how much money corporations are making. But if you're trying to be a bit of an analyst, even if it's an armchair analyst, it is worth keeping in mind that we are beginning to witness that, low tide brings all boats down, it's not just, it's funny. It's funny because, people, they talk about Xbox and I see it all the time. And it's like, yeah, we can kind of identify how badly things are going for the Xbox console, but truthfully, it's like what we need to really do right now is identify how badly things are going, generally speaking, or beginning to go. Seemingly, what we're starting to telegraph is things are maybe about to get, uh, dare I say, ugly. Depending on just how things begin to shake out economically speaking. So I'm not trying to be overly negative. I'm not trying to be pessimistic. I'm trying to be just realistic in my analysis that if I had to, if I was Sony right now, not if I was the entirety of Sony, if I was the head of PlayStation right now, the one thing I would feel utterly convinced by, and I would really need a team of people around me to help me figure out, okay, how do we overcome this problem? Because it would be a problem from the perspective of a PlayStation CEO, is that the vast majority of people on PlayStation 5 and especially PS5 Pro right now, the majority have no intention of leaving anytime soon. They're super comfortable. They really like what we've done here. And they like the games they're getting. And they're very happy with the performance and the visuals and all this. They're happy with everything. My question would be like, you know, okay, so how do we change that? And I don't know. Like I don't know how you change that, man. You could somebody might say exclusive games, and it's like, yes, always exclusive games, but like it's such a risk at this point. It's such a risk. Michael, you're saying if I wanted to put $50,000 into Sony stock tomorrow, would you have faith in it giving me gains in 2 to 4 years? I mean, I don't know that I'm the right person to ask, but if we're talking from that perspective, I don't have that high level of confidence. I don't. I'm not like scared to the degree where it's like you're gonna lose all your money. I don't think it's like that. I don't think the next like 3 to 4 years for PlayStation are showing signs like unless Sony has a couple of what we would call aces up their sleeve, which at that point you would just be going in with blind faith, you know? Yeah, and that's true too. Yeah, I would if we're talking about Sony as a company, that's a little bit different where I would have to do more research into the other areas of Sony and how they're doing and how it's looking going forward. In terms of the gaming division, I mean, from a gaming perspective, you could argue that Sony really doesn't have to worry that much. Like they're doing well. They've still been doing well, even during certain, I mean, throughout this generation, I've encountered so many people saying, like, well, you know, this is going to happen and then Sony's going to hit the wall or PlayStation's going to hit the wall or this is going to happen and then that's when PlayStation's going to hit the wall. And, PlayStation has had all these different, I guess you could say, negative things happen this generation that it's kind of crazy that they've actually navigated it so well where you would have thought it would have done more damage, but it didn't. It's just like, yeah, we're okay. We're still doing really good. And I always find that peculiar. I always found that peculiar where I'm like, I see, I know that the internet isn't real life, but there's just this like negative feeling towards PlayStation that was not there 3.5 to 4 years ago. And I'm not sure why this is. And everybody has their different reasons. But yet when we see their data and when we see their numbers, it's like everything seems perfectly fine. And I'm like, something's gonna happen. Good or bad. I'm not saying it will be good or bad, but something's going to happen at some point that's going to change. Like the change is going to be more pronounced. It's going to be more obvious. It's going to be more clear where it's just kind of across the board. I'm hoping that'll be a positive and a good change, but it's hard to determine. I mean, when I look at 2026, I do feel more optimistic because I'm like, yeah, okay, well, nobody really knows what the economy is going to be like in 2026. A lot of people are predicting like a collapse of some kind. And I mean, I don't know. No one truly will see it coming. Everybody wants to predict it, but it's just these things, they just happen. And there's like, oh, there it is. But just from a pure gaming perspective, I mean, when I look at 2026, I'm like, dude, this is looking like a S tier year, S plus tier year. And that, it could just be that simple where it's like people will, like, PlayStations will still find their way into people's homes because the games are just too compelling. People don't want to miss out on some of these upcoming games, especially a game like GTA 6 or a game like Wolverine. And we could end up looking at a scenario where actually 2026 is a fantastic year across the board for gamers and for PlayStation, like as from a business oriented standpoint. That's me being more optimistic. That's me kind of looking at the glass half full and just kind of observing, like I said, that there's so many great games coming that, I mean, even if there is a concern of finances, are there, like, some people might be a little bit late to it, but I don't know. It's an interesting situation that we're looking at here where I definitely could not have predicted that this particular circumstance is where PlayStation would find itself 5 years later or 5 years into the generation. But the same can be said about the entire industry, frankly. It's not just PlayStation. The entire industry has taken a couple of strange, unexpected left turns. And I'm like, oh, didn't see that one coming. But you're along for the ride, right? So it's like, okay, well, let's just take it from here. I couldn't even tell myself how I would feel about a PS6 right now. It feels like they barely tapped into the PS5's power. Well, the one thing I always keep in mind when we talk about this, IMA Odo, because we've been talking about it a lot, understandably, never underestimate marketing. Never underestimate Sony's ability to wow you. They're very good at that. I think people have downplayed that in the last couple years because I think it's obvious Sony is like not putting the they're not stepping on the gas. They're not putting the pedal to the metal, so to speak. If anything, they are probably trying to save that for exactly what we're talking about. And I'm not saying I'm not saying, be ready to fall for the hype. It has to have substance to it, but that's the one thing that I saw this trending post. I think it was from that guy Pio, where his post went kind of viral, getting hundreds of thousands of views and likes and people agreeing with it. Where he was like saying like the PS6 is too soon. That we need to be at least 2030. And I didn't respond to it, but I just couldn't help but think to myself like, you know, get like let's come back to this post by July 2027. Not in a rude way, but just honestly, let's see how we feel after Sony puts on their 2-hour showcase for the PlayStation 6 and tell me that you still think it's too soon for a PS6. And if people leave that show and still are saying like, yeah, it's too soon, I'm sticking with my PS5. I'll believe them. I'll be like, okay, yeah, there you go, Sony. You seeing this? Like, what are you gonna do? But something tells me it's probably not going to go that way. Something tells me that tens of millions of people, maybe that's an exaggeration, but millions of people who are engaging with these conversations, they're like, no, it's too soon. Something tells me that, about a year and a half from now, because it's a long time. It's not a short period of time, but it'll be here before we know it. A year and a half from now, they're going to leave that PlayStation showcase stream and be like, so when do pre-orders go live? I think it's just easy for people right now to tell themselves that they don't want the new thing. Now, how much will Sony lean into FOMO? Well, I'm saying don't underestimate it. Don't underestimate it. Because I mean, dude, I can honestly say I kind of feel you guys on that. I feel comfortable too. If Sony, we're hearing rumors of a PS6 and I don't really feel like revved up about it. I don't feel like I need that right now. Keep in mind, guys, I think people tend to forget this. Sony, I don't think, is upset at the idea of posts going around right now of people saying, like, we don't need a PS6. I think Sony's like, you're right. You need a PS5 right now. I think people forget that. Like, Sony's trying to sell PS5 consoles right now, guys. They don't, in Sony's eyes, the PS6 doesn't exist. The question that people need to ask themselves is once Sony acknowledges the PlayStation 6's existence, how much do things change? And we're going to find out. I know you're not an anime guy, but Sony owns a lot of anime companies. They just announced a boatload of new anime shows. Seems like that should rake in the numbers. Yeah, I know Sony's going all in with anime, and they even have like a Ghost of Tsushima or Ghost of Yotei Legends anime or something that's in the works. I mean, yeah, man, I want to see the PlayStation division do well. I'm not really too concerned about Sony as a whole. Like I try to pay some attention because I know that they own PlayStation. But to me, the more reliant Sony is on the gaming division, the better as a company because well, I mean, that's the division I care about, but there's no denying that these other divisions kind of help the gaming division as well, like when they want to expand the movies and TVs and anime and all that stuff. A lot of people saying it's too early or they don't want a PS6, don't even have a TV above 1080p resolution. Well, I mean, I'm just trying to I'm just trying to maintain that understanding, right? It's not me saying like you say you don't want a PS6, but you're actually going to want a PS6. Like, come on, like why are you lying, bro? It's I don't think people are lying. They're not lying. I just think they're not really keeping in mind that chances are when, you know, I try to remind people that if you were to telegraph this the same way we did like maybe telegraph's the wrong word. If you were to just like overlay where we are now at the PS5, where the PS4 was, we would be looking at, I believe, December 2018. Now, let me ask you, how many people in December of 2018 were clamoring for a PS5? How many PS4 players were clamoring for a PS5? Really think about that. I think this is what people kind of don't think about. I don't recall seeing much. I mean, we were talking about it. We were talking about rumors and leaks we were getting about the PS5 the same way we are now. But maybe, I don't know. I'd have to go back. Maybe I could actually do a little bit of research. I could go try to find some of those videos in, I guess it would be like early 2019, talking about PS5 rumors and seeing what people were saying. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe, I'll see if I can go do that now, actually. This would be pretty interesting. We're going to go way back. Let's see. Go to my channel. Go to videos. Oh, man, I got to go all the way back, bro. We're talking like literal years. We're talking like 6 years at this point, going on 7. Wow. What is time, man? I've made so many videos on the channel. It's like too many. Going back to the Ragnarok days. It's always shocking to me when I see a thumbnail from a past video where I'm in the thumbnail. Like, what am I doing in the thumbnail? Now we're back 4 years ago. Still going, still going. This is 2021. Now we're back in 2020. Oh man. Looking at some of these thumbnails, dude. I slowed down for just a minute. Bro, what is this video I made 5 years ago? Phil Spencer attempts to flex on Sony. What the hell was I talking about? What? What? Jeez. All right, now I'm back in 2019. Here we go. I'm going all the way back. A lot of videos about The Last of Us Part 2. Come on. Okay, I'm all the way back. Let's see. I'm going to try to find the first video I can talking about next gen. PlayStation 5 coming sooner than expected. It's a 12-minute video. Bro, why is my computer struggling right now with this? So this was uploaded, the exact date, February 6th, 2019. So this would be the equivalent of February 2026. Okay. This is funny. I uploaded this video. It says PS5 to release sooner than expected. Got 25,000 views, which is good. Really good, actually. February 6th, 2019. The description says it seems that according to some analysts, the PS5 could end up releasing sooner than expected due to the PS4 slowing down. This isn't the first time we heard this before either. Could Sony be planning a reveal for the PS5 at PSX 2019, which never actually happened, and set it for a March launch rather than a holiday 2020 launch? So let's go check some of the comments here. I think 2021 is the year PS5 and the next Xbox should release. That's first comment, bro. But you see what I'm saying? You see what I'm telling you guys? Like, if you go back, you'll find it. It's not much different. I was talking about other topics in this video too, so I'm getting comments on other topics. I'm trying to find one people who are responding to the. Somebody says revealing it in late 2019 to release it in Q1 2020 seems like a logical approach. Let's see. Analysts, LOL. Everybody on the internet is an analyst these days. Over 90 million people have purchased PS4. PS4 just sold over 5 million in the holiday season. So obviously sales are going to slow down considering how many people actually have a PS4 and the fact that after the holiday season, analysts have no idea what they're talking about. So I guess in the video it was an analyst saying this. That horrible mock-up PS5 fan art in the thumbnail kills me. So they'll rush a PS5 launch because their stock is taking a hit and Sony's bleeding money. Seems like a bad move. Investors are crazy as hell. The PS4 sold last year only a bit less than 2017, and they are scared. I bought a PS4 the first month it came out, but I still think it's too soon for a PS5. March 2020 makes no sense. I think I just think PlayStation sold so much that it's bound to slow down. Somebody says, I hope so. I'm tired of 30 FPS games. See, that's an interesting comment there. That one had 30 upvotes. It's hard to believe they were working on the PS5 since 2014. Bro, yo, check this out. This is a funny ass comment. So he says, I could see this being a lineup for the PS5. Last of Us Part 2, Uncharted 5, Killzone, Bloodborne 2, Twisted Metal, Horizon Zero Dawn 2, Spider-Man 2. Plenty more up their sleeves. Some of those games are just wild, man. If only he knew. PS5 can't come out sooner because AMD's chips are not going to be ready for production until 2020. So yeah, this nice English buddy, you must be Canadian. What? Comments were weird back then too. Well, to be fair, I don't see too many people complaining that it was coming out in 2020, but there's like no excitement. No, like I'm struggling. The closest thing I found to excitement was somebody saying I can't wait because I want 60 FPS gaming. But there isn't like this like, yes, we can't wait. But I can also identify that there doesn't seem to be as much consternation either. It's not as bad. So it's interesting. I would have to go back and look at other videos too, but it just completely glitched out on me and closed the tab. So, I think everybody feels like it's too soon until it's here. You know, I mean, I think that I think if we look at next year again, we're gonna have games like Wolverine, GTA 6, Resident Evil 9, plenty of others, and I think people are really gonna feel like, yeah, it's definitely too soon, but it's just like, I don't know. Just give it till Sony wants to actually reveal it, and then we'll see. Let's see. So, guys, I see we're approaching the 3.5 hour mark. Okay, so I think what we'll do here is we have about 6 minutes left. So we'll do like a final call. If you guys want to drop any more support to help out the channel, there's not going to be a lot of streams coming up this week. There's going to be today, and then probably our Christmas Eve stream. And then I probably won't be back until, unless something changes, I probably won't be back until Sunday, the 28th. So, but we'll hit the ground running then. So if you want to drop any more support for this stream, Now would be the time to do it. We'll do like a last call. We did hit our goal of 25 members, so thank you for that. You want to see what Cerny's cooking? Seems like the PS6 will repeat the PS5. Well, it's like I said, Sony has they have a big change in approach with the upcoming handheld. Speaking to Inverse in person, Silent Hill developer says there are several specific locations he's thinking about bringing to the game next. Well, at first he said he could not reveal more details. As he kept speaking, he added more ideas. Silent Hill F's Japanese setting allowed the developers to do a deep dive on local folklore and a tie into the game's horror elements. He says that for future titles, his teams might be looking at other Asian regions, areas in Central or South America, and countries like Russia and Italy. We believe we could perhaps take a similar approach with other cultures across the globe. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, I think it makes sense. They took Silent Hill F out of Silent Hill, out of Maine, and it's hugely successful for them. So they're finally like free from those shackles. I don't think it's a bad idea if they want to continue that, take that formula and continue it in other regions, in other territories and other cultures. I think that would be more interesting, to be honest. So I kind of hope they do that. I'm all for it. Perfect Image, you're saying W's for the support. Yeah, I appreciate all the support, guys. I still haven't played Silent Hill F. Eventually, I'll get to it. I think. I don't know. Something about Silent Hill F isn't as appealing to me. But I heard it's really good. I probably should play it at some point. All the people in the industry are angry at indie developers for making them look so bad. You think it's all manufactured hate? Maybe. I look like I lost weight. I probably did lose a little bit of weight. I'm also probably a little bit dehydrated right now. It also could be, you know what? It's also probably the fact that I shaved my beard. It always makes me look a little bit thinner. But I haven't been working out as much. I'm just kind of prepping for the new year, Gonna try to, as one does, hit the ground running with those New Year's resolutions. Um, so yeah, I'll probably again the next stream will probably be on the 24th, Christmas Eve in the evening. And then looking at the calendar now, then we'll be back Sunday. So for me, like I said, Sunday the 28th, that's basically gonna be the start of the new year for me. Still got a couple days till New Year's Eve and New Year's Day, but for me, that's where I'm gonna try to hit the ground running. Unless something changes, there's still time. Something could change. You work on Christmas Eve? Sorry to hear that. Yeah, it's rough. It's tough. It's tough working on Christmas Eve. Yeah. All right, guys. Yeah, this is gonna be a good place to wrap it up. We're about to hit the 3.5 hour mark. So guys, before I head out, I want to thank you for tuning in. If you watch live, thank you for the support. If you can't catch the stream live, but you watch it later, I appreciate that as well. And thank you to everybody who dropped support. We hit the 25 member mark today, which I'm very appreciative of. If you super chatted or dropped any direct donations or anything in that space, I really appreciate it. We're totally fan funded. I can only do what I do here because you guys make it possible. So thank you so much for that. Make sure you have notifications turned on for when I go live again. We'll do that again Christmas Eve, and then after that, we'll get back to a regular schedule. And yeah, guys, I think that's going to be about it. Oh yeah, and a shout out to Devil Shooter who does the timestamps for the streams. Almost forgot. If you guys see him in the comments with those timestamps, give him some thanks, show him some love. I know he appreciates it. And that's it. So guys, please enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Get some gaming in, and I will hopefully see you in a couple of days. All right. So, Prince, I'm sorry you just got here, man. It's a 3.5 hour stream. We're wrapping it up, but we'll be back on the 24th. All right. So I hope to see you then. And that's it. All right, guys. Enjoy the rest of your day. I will catch you all in the next one. Till then, take care, everyone.